it this time. I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky. Go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands up in the sky.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for another This Week in Startups. 2 in 1 week. How was that Annie Duke episode? Huh, Tyler, how was it?
That was long.
That's your comment? Epic discussion like that?
Let me put it this way.
2 hours and 30 minutes. Did you listen to any of it?
I left here somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Went to Starbucks for a meeting.
A meeting, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we gotta get Tyler's mic up. Sorry, guys. Tyler's got incredible insights, but without his microphone. Is it on?
It's on.
Tyler's okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
good.
you
So you were saying?
Yeah, you had been going an hour and a half.
Right. And you figure you go to your meeting, you come back,
I go to my meeting. Okay.
check in with Jason, get some more stuff done.
It was almost an hour-long meeting. It was one of those TV's going crazy.
Yeah.
Came back an hour later. You were still
going.
Still going.
That was a great episode in some ways. Not your typical business episode, but I got a tremendous amount of feedback. Some venture capitalists emailed like, wow, you and Annie Duke have a lot of chemistry. And I was like, yeah, it was a good interview. And he said, I better not be hearing any Tiger Woods stories. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So, interesting week. We launched today the openangelforum.com.
Right.
We had the website up.
Yeah.
We have a logo. So do we know who did the logo so I can thank them?
I can pull it.
Yeah, pull up who did the logo, because we got 20 or 30 logos, and we actually really loved one of them. So we went with that logo. We're rebuilding the site. But, you know, like many things when you're doing a business, you don't have to have everything perfect. I mean, this is one of the things that Guy Kawasaki has said that you should listen to. Most things Guy Kawasaki says you should not listen to. But he did say one thing that was very, very important. He's been saying the same thing for over a decade. Don't worry, be crappy. If anybody should know about being crappy, it's Guy Kawasaki. And no, he's a friend of mine, but he basically is very self-deprecating about the fact that he's never actually accomplished anything. He's never really run a startup company, but people take his advice about running startup companies. And his point is, you got to get started. Don't wait. And so we didn't want to wait on the Open Angel Forum. This is not rocket science, is it?
No.
We're going to host a dinner with some angels.
No, it's rocket surgery.
It's rocket surgery. It's not rocket surgery. So we're going to host it. This is how we're going to do it. I don't like breakfast, because I wake up for breakfast. I'm not even awake. That's terrible. I hate those things. I go to the Allen and Comfrey conference.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to talk about it. But the second year I went to that conference, I get a note. We have set up a breakfast meeting for you. I'm like, well, that's really nice. They set up a breakfast meeting. I pull it out. 6 a.m. I haven't been up at 6 a.m. since. If I'm up at 6 a.m., that's because I've been playing cards all night.
That's because there's a lot of old guys at that conference.
And that's what it is. It's all these banker guys, and they like to have the first meeting at 6, 7 o'clock staff meeting, 8:30 they're meeting with their direct report. I mean, they're having lunch at 10:30, 11 o'clock. I mean, I feel like I'm in an old age home. I mean, there's young people there. It's cool, but anyway, you got to get things going. So we got it going. OpenAngelForum.com. Now, there's a lot of questions. Oh my God, how are you going to make a business model out of this? You know, all this Keiretsu forum argument. And so, very simple. Entrepreneurs present for free. Angel investors come for free. What do they need to pay? Then, lawyers, accountants, business plan consultants, recruiters, real estate, all those people who are very important. If you're a CEO, you've got one of each of those, 2 of each of those. They're important. I love my lawyer. Joey does a great job at Fortis. I don't use headhunters that often because, let's face it, people want to work here. We don't really, that would be a waste of us to use it. But I have a real estate broker who does a great job. Mike Barry, accounting guy, who does a great job. We love those guys.
Service providers.
Service providers. The service provider is not going to invest in the company, so they're taking up a seat.
They're there to get clients.
They're there to get clients. They get paid.
Right.
You know what a lawyer gets paid for doing a venture round? 30 grand. Angel round, 15 grand. Real estate broker makes 20, 30, 40 grand when they get somebody their real estate, you know, for a 3-year deal. So there's money to be made by this guy. So I just said, you know what? $1,500 a seat. You know where I came up with that number?
Out of the noodle.
I just, boom.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just grabbed it right here. Boom, $1,500.
You figured 1/10 of what it's probably worth if they land a client.
Exactly.
Right.
So you come to 4 of these things, you land 1 client, it's more than worth it.
Sure.
Exactly, Tyler. So we put 5 tickets out. We sold 1 in the first 2 minutes. We'll sell all 5. That's 7,500 beans. Not insignificant. We're going to have a dinner for 20 people.
It's enough for coffee.
It's enough for coffee. So I don't know what this nonsense of how do you come up with a business model? Am I some incredible genius for coming up with this business model?
I don't know.
I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, is it? So this shows you, if an idiot like me can figure out how to make this work in 2 seconds, that means that the guys from those other angel forums who were doing pay-to-play were liars. They were lying. And now you saw Denver folded. Keiretsu Forum Denver folded.
But I think they're doing that just to get you off their game.
Well,
I think they're folding Denver just to kind of, it's a smoke
I will
screen.
tell you very clearly, I am more motivated than ever to destroy that organization. And you know why? Because when they folded the Denver chapter, they didn't even give me credit for it. They're like, this had nothing to do with it. And then when they changed their fees for $500,000, it has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with This Week in Startups. It has nothing to do with the Jason Nation and all the people who are tweeting and blogging about it.
Yeah, people are going to get funded out of the Angel Forum, and then there'll be press releases. And
Exactly. And we've already got 2 cities that we're going to start. I'm not going to announce them now. I'm going to announce them on January 14th when we have the event. So one question that came up, I'm an entrepreneur. I would like to present my idea. You have to be actually raising money if you want to be at the event. You have to actually have, like a business plan, all this stuff. You have to do a video. You have to give us a PowerPoint, all this stuff. When you apply, you just apply at openangelforum.com. You can apply like up until Christmas Day. From Christmas Day till the new year, you and I will get coffee. We'll look these things over. Tyler, I trust Tyler's advice. He's my strategy guy. We'll pick 5.
yeah.
Not so difficult. 5. It's probably going to be 30 people who are going to apply. So you get a 1 in 6 chance. That's my guess. 30 people will apply. You have to say exactly how much money you want to raise. And then we just go from there. 5 of them present over dinner. You get 10 minutes to present, 10 minutes Q&A. Then they leave the room. Next one comes in. A lot of entrepreneurs said, hey, I want to come to the event. I want to watch. There's a little bit of a problem with that. What's the problem with that, Tyler?
Giving away their ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I'm pitching my idea I don't want to pitch other entrepreneurs my ideas.
Right.
So if you're an entrepreneur and you don't get selected, you can't come to the event. But we'll do some other event for those people.
Yeah.
We'll do like a meetup or something. Anyway, very cool that it's off the ground. I'm getting a ton of people who want to be at it. I mean, this angel event is going to have Matt Coffin, who's been on the show, Sky Dayton, Elon Musk, Sandy Kleiman. I mean, just like it's going to be ridiculous. The logo was by Michael Troy. Michael Troy. There's going to be like 2 or 3 billionaires at the dinner. Let's leave it at that. There'll be a couple of centimillionaires, which means not 2 commas, 9 digits in your net worth, and there'll be a couple of billionaires. It means it'd be ridiculous. If you get one of those 5 slots.
I mean, those are the kind of investors that makes it easier to get further investors.
Exactly.
To a degree.
And I got 2 more angel investments I made this week. Or that I'm in the process of making. I can't.
I heard you did a tweet. You were excited about your third.
3rd and today 4th.
Wow.
I got 2 deals in 1 week. One I'm going to put 10, 20,000 in because that's all they have room, and the other one 25. These are 2 well-known, of-the-moment startups.
Wow.
Yeah. Not like Twitter, but like Twitter in the first phase. Can't say which ones they are. Not going to let you
Are
guess.
you saying you're not saying Square?
I didn't say the word Square.
Oh.
No. Not Foursquare. I asked the Foursquare guys if I could invest.
Yeah.
They didn't get back to me. What can I do? The round's already closed. I understand. What are you going to do? Make a special exemption for me because all of a sudden everybody else invests and then I think I'm smart enough to? But anyway, I'm very excited about it. We've got a great show today. We've got a bunch of Ask Jasons. We've got a great Shark Tank. We're going to have the news. But Jack Andrys is here. He's the CEO of WebSpy. WebSpy emailed us, before the show launched, I think. Did you email
Straight after.
Straight after the first episode. I knew it was either right before or right after. And said, this show is brilliant. This is what I've always wanted to watch. How can we help? Can we be a sponsor? And sure enough, Jack, you sponsored the show from the get-go. And I said, hey, if you're ever in town, love to have a CEO of a big, successful software company on. And you're here.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for running the show. It's been a great show. Very enjoyable.
Has it been effective advertising on it? Have you got clients? Have you got people know the brand now? And
Absolutely. Yeah,
Really?
and particularly the retweet.
the retweet.
Yeah, it's a fantastic idea.
Is that really working?
It is, and we even asked other people that we sponsor to do the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so we've made like an innovative thing.
We've stolen your idea, Jack.
No, by all means. I take it, run with it. I think it's great. I did an event podcasting. I'm standing on the shoulders of Leo Laporte with This Week in Tech on this show. And you know what? It's great. Now Ford Flex did a whole retweet campaign around his Ford Mustang. Not Ford Flex, Ford, whatever the Ford.
Fusion?
Fusion is the name of the software? No, but what's the Ford Sync? They're not even an advertiser on the show, and I'm giving them a commercial right now. Ford Sync is the system where it syncs all your stuff. So what do?
Yeah.
They're retweeting everything. I'm like, wow, this is great. I go test drive. I need to get another minivan SUV. I go test drive the Ford Flex with the Ford Fusion, and I'm tweeting about it. And I realized, wait a second, I'm considering my next car purchase because I heard about this thing on Leo Laporte's thing. It really works when you have a good show with a quality host, quality audience doing it. So anyway, let me thank the sponsors, the ones who are not here, for supporting the show. Everybody knows DNA Mail. DNA Mail, everybody loves DNA Mail. DNA Mail gives you complete hosted exchange service, $3 a person, unlimited email. You don't have to screw with this. You should outsource any service you can, any software you can, software as a service, much better model than having an IT department. How many people on our IT staff now here, Tyler?
0.
0. So we've increased it from how many we had last year?
We went from 0
to
0. Yeah, it was an amazing change. Yeah.
And the service level here is
just
maintained.
Yeah,
it's off the
phenomenal.
charts. If you are running a company, you should not be screwing around with exchange servers and all this other nonsense. Let somebody who's an expert do it. Let DNA Mail do it. They also have a new service. This is crazy. DNA Mail has done so well. They have a new service. It's a virtual private server solution. It's the team that brought you DNA Mail. And it's called Power VPS. Let's take a look at it right here. I have it on my screen. Virtual and dedicated web hosting powered by VPS with almost a decade of virtualization experience. Power VPS represents the gold standard in virtual and cloud hosting. Blah, 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 blah. This is where you're going to get your service hosted. Money back guarantee, upgrades, total control. You can chat with them right now. Go give it a shot. Tell them your Uncle Jason sent you. Starts as low as $59 a month. PowerVPS.com. Now, do they have PowerVPS as their Twitter account? That would be good. I'm going to check right now. PowerVPS, Twitter.com, PowerVPS. I hope they do because I'm going to tell everybody right now. They do. Thank the Lord. They're not like Aardvark. You don't. And people think I'm picking on Aardvark because they're somehow competitive with Mahalo.
Right.
This is what I love. Somebody makes a product that is 4% of the feature set of Mahalo that has no traffic, and then people say I'm dissing them. I'm not dissing them. If you name your company Aardvark, then have the domain name be Aardvark. Have your Twitter account be Aardvark. Don't name your company Aardvark and have your Twitter name be Vark and your domain be Vark. That's just stupid. Is it not? Am I crazy? I am crazy. Anyway. Everybody thank also WebSpy. WebSpy is here this week. I shouldn't do like a huge plug from here because we're going to be here, but everybody knows WebSpy. If you're going to analyze the data on your network, you have to do this. And interestingly enough, I want to just talk to you about there's always like interesting conversations that occur before the show starts. When we were talking about this earlier, I was like, wow, this is great that you can analyze what's on your network. You know what's going on because I know a guy who had a startup company somebody at a startup company was downloading BitTorrents at work.
Yep.
This is and the company got a letter. Hey, by the way, company X that I was involved in. Thank you for stealing Time Warner's, Harry Potter movie or whatever it is. We're about to destroy you. You're a company who should not really be stealing. You're a content company, should not be stealing other people's content. Lo and behold, they would have been able. And you go to the employee and like, did you download Harry Potter at work? Yeah. And the employee's like, yes. And it's like, are you out of your mind? You're a good employee. We have to fire you now. But people do stupid stuff like this.
They do, and I think it's probably very important that from a WebSpy point of view, we always make sure that people have a policy in place when they use our product. And part of that policy is to tell people that you are monitoring. But I know at one stage, 2 years ago, no, more than that, 4 or 5 years ago, in Seattle, a number of government employees were let go because they'd spent 6 months doing inappropriate things on the internet. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, it's not really the employee's fault.
Right.
The managers of these employees are the ones that are to blame.
You
they didn't know what was going on.
Make clear rules.
Yeah.
And you have to have the ability to check them.
Yeah.
And I always tell people it's fine. You want to keep your instant messenger up at work. Yeah. You need to check your Hotmail or whatever. You want to keep your Gmail account open in Mahalo's. Whatever. I don't care. Yeah. But don't do anything illegal or stupid at work. I had in my first company, this is another true story. I didn't have WebSpy at Silicon Valley Reporter. We had somebody at the company. I got to figure out how to tell the story. Anyway, let's just say there was somebody involved in the company without saying who they were. And they were working for a period of time, and then they were off for a period of time. They were coming back to work for a period of time. They were like sort of one of those type of employees. And our email server keeps crashing. And this is back in the days when we managed our own email server. We weren't using like a DNA mail or something like idiots. And my IT guy, I mean, got a 30-person company. One of them's an IT guy. And at that time, that would be a low ratio. You had to have like an IT guy for every 10 or 15 people. Says, yeah, we have to get a new hard drive, or we have to remove stuff. I'm like, well, I don't want to delete my old emails. Like, what's the problem? He goes, well, actually, there's one person's email box that is like huge. It's like 100 times bigger than the next biggest. I'm like, whose? He said, well, this person's. I said, well, what's the problem? I mean, can you delete their email? They're not here now. And they go, well, it's got a lot of attachments.
Right.
Oh, boy. I said, what's the attachments? He says, adult stuff. This is a male employee. I'm like, you're kidding. They were downloading porn? And the IT guy's like, gay porn. This is a straight guy. And I'm like, okay, number one, do not say this to anybody else on the staff. Number two, delete this and delete this account. Give him a new email address.
Yeah.
Change the email address and tell him that his email address must have been compromised by spammers. Don't tell him I know anything. Save the guy the embarrassment. And just tell him, like, hey, your email got compromised. We had to give you a new email address. We discontinued that one because some porn spammer was just sending a ridiculous amount of stuff, but obviously not your fault. And they did that. But, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that employees will do.
It's tragic when somebody gets fired for misusing the internet at work, because it shouldn't happen. The only time you hire or you fire somebody is if they're not a good employee. The last thing you want to be firing them for is using the internet inappropriately, because that's not the reason to get rid of people.
Absolutely. And
So
especially if you've
that's why you need to
invested in a
control.
person.
Yeah.
So how do you put it in and not seem like a draconian maniac boss?
Well, in your example, you knew about it without WebSpy.
Right. It's going to come out.
So the logs are there. I
Right.
mean, it's nothing that we do. We effectively report on what's there. So if anything, you're not a draconian boss. You're actually being open about what you're doing, because all the access that IT guys have to those logs have been around since the logs have been around. So from day one.
Right. So there's a misconception that the IT guys don't know exactly what websites people are browsing and exactly what they're doing.
Exactly. So
They know. So
this
the IT
controls
guys in
it.
your company know.
Yeah.
So you might as well share it and say, hey, listen.
Yeah. Well, if they know, why shouldn't we control it? Because, otherwise they've got information. And I've seen IT guys and companies use that information personally to their own benefit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
That's not cool.
So you're better off saying to employees, here's the policy. We're either totally free and open about this, and the only other alternative, if you want to control it, is blocking, and blocking just gets in the way.
Yeah, you can't be blocking websites or packets. It's just, especially
I mean,
if
it's
you're
not what the internet's about. It's not about blocking.
and when you analyze the stuff and you tell somebody like, hey, 16% of your day is on Facebook,
Yeah.
that is something that a good employee may not know how much time they're spending on it. If they knew, they might,
Well, it improves the relationship between the employee and the employer. As simple as that. You end up working together on it, and the internet's there to be used.
Right.
I could not imagine a company now employing people and not allowing private use of the internet. It's just not acceptable.
There are some companies, you'd be surprised, where
I know,
Facebook and, I mean, we know this because we have how-to articles on Mahalo, how to see YouTube at work, how to do Facebook at work. They're blocking YouTube, Facebook, a lot of major companies.
Yeah, and then there's the other proxy sites that you can get around blocking.
And it doesn't matter,
on
you
as
just go to a
well, so
proxy site.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So really, it should just be a policy that's in play in the company, because it's adults to adults here.
Right.
I think it's not draconian anymore. It's not the Middle Ages. There's an employee-employee relationship that's built
Let's talk about
over
it.
trust.
Yeah.
And you're either working for the company or you're not. As simple as that.
My philosophy is no managers at a startup. Like, why, if you need to be managed, I mean, you really are not a good startup employee.
Yeah.
Like, that's the wrong person. You should be working at the post office. You should be working somewhere else, Starbucks, where there's a manager in place who makes sure that you use the proper amount of the chocolate sauce in Tyler's mocha, whatever it is. We have no management here at
Light whipped cream, by the way.
Light Whip.
They always
Light Whip.
mess that up.
They always Light Whip. So
Like,
difficult.
Jeez.
No management. We have no management here at Mahalo.
No, not really.
And you are responsible for culture and strategy here?
Yeah.
You talk to the people who work here. I know you take people out. I have Tyler, he does like the check-in with everybody on the staff. He goes takes them for coffee twice a year. I don't know, once a quarter, whatever he does. And is that one of the key reasons people like working here, is that they don't have a manager?
Nobody has said that
Right.
specifically,
Right.
but I think if asked that, I think everyone would agree, yeah.
Right. And they don't need a manager. And why
Right.
don't they need a manager?
Well, because you're hiring people that are self-managers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
By the way,
thank you.
This topic is covered very well in Good to Great.
Good to great.
Yeah, Jim Collins' book. It's
Good to great.
Yeah.
Good book.
It's
they
great.
cover-
Anybody who's a business person will tell you
Yeah.
that is the right book to read. And
I heard it on Audible.
oh, Audible. Audible not sponsoring right now.
Oh.
They're taking a little break because got some other programs going on, but we still love Audible. So everybody should go thank at WebSpy, at DNA Mal, also at Ustream. Ustream doing a great job sponsoring the show, powering the show, and our new sponsor at Power VPS. Power VPS, Power VPS. Thank you for getting involved. Let's go to Ask Jason. Let's get some people on the phone. Let's try to help some people. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, take your time. There's only like 200 people watching, waiting for a great Ask Jason question. And by the way, the Open Angel Forum logo was done by Michael Troy. Congratulations to Michael Troy for winning the logo contest. I don't know what he wins. I think he just wins me saying congratulations. But here it is. Let's take a look on my screen, and we'll show the Open Angel Forum logo. As you can see, it's a bold, round circle there. I don't know what that means. It's like one of those logos, right, Tyler? That's sort of
Zen. It's like a Japanese.
it's like a Zen
Yeah.
kind of.
Zen circle.
The circle goes round, and it's the circle of funding and ideas, and it's the halo. Oh, very good, the halo. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of iconic. I like it, and I'm really thankful. And the caller is ready. Okay, is this a Skype call, or am I getting him on the regular phone? On the regular phone, apparently. So let's put on our thinking caps. Jordan from the 403, are you there?
You betcha.
Jordan, how long you been listening to the show?
I've been listening to the show pretty much since it started, on and off, but I definitely watched the first episode.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So you saw the Brian Alvey episode. Have you had a favorite guest to date?
I would have to say that I enjoyed Annie Duke last on Wednesday there.
Andy Duke, pretty good, huh? She's like
Yes,
she's
I
like
enjoyed that.
I think she's the female version of Jason Calacanis. I think the Annie Duke Jason Calacanis ticket for office would be a great one. The no BS ticket. So you're an entrepreneur from the 403. Where is the 403? Where do you hail from?
403 is Lethbridge, Alberta.
Calgary? Or something like that? Alberta.
Yeah, Alberta. It's about 2 hours south of Calgary.
Did you say about?
Yeah, it's about 2 hours south of
About?
Calgary.
How far is it?
2 hours.
Wait, is it exactly 2 hours?
Yeah, it is.
It's not like, if it was 2 hours and 10 minutes, it would be about 2 hours? We're trying to get you to say about again.
Yeah, I noticed my coach does that. I'm not doing that.
I love the about. We have two great developers who've been working with Mahalo since the beginning, Ray and Sean. And every time they're on the call, they drop an about, and everybody like takes a drink in the dev meeting and makes fun of them. It's pretty funny. But anyway, what's your question? What's your problem about?
Well, my problem is legal issues. I have a web design company. This is actually my second web design company, and this issue goes back to my first one. And it was a client of the first company. Now, we hadn't been in touch for about 6-7 months, and he wanted me to do free updates on his website. He had like 25 PDFs on his website, and he comes to me and says, "Jordan, can you put these into text for me?" And I said, "Sure." So I gave him a quote, and he said, "Well, I'm not going to pay for that." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm not going to do it then." So he files a lawsuit against me, and then puts it in the Lethbridge Herald and the Journal, and just put it in a couple different newspaper stations here in our city.
Wow.
Really just defame me. And my problem, I wasn't too sure what avenue I should approach, whether I should speak with a lawyer immediately.
So wait a second. Let me go back for a second. He
Yeah.
paid you to do a job and you didn't do it? I don't understand exactly
No,
that.
No, I did the job completely, which is why final payment was received.
Got it.
I've since I submitted this question to you, I have gotten a little bit farther, and I actually the paperwork that I ended up getting from the courthouse, he filed this lawsuit against me before the project even started, before his account was actually even created in my billing system.
Wow. So you did the work for him, and then he came back and said, I wanted you to do more work, and you didn't do it, so therefore I'm suing you?
Yeah, basically, I mean, he had paid in full, and we had signed off on the web property because he agreed that it was done.
Right.
And then a couple months later, he came back and said, do these updates, and it was easily 20 to 30 hours worth of updates.
Right.
And I gave him a quote for it, and he said, no, that's ridiculous. I'm not paying for that. And then at that time, that's when he put the lawsuit into action.
Right.
And came after me.
Huh, interesting. So there's something fishy here. So you're talking about 20 hours of work at $100 an hour, $2,000 worth of work?
Yep.
And
yeah, I bill out at $80 an hour.
Right, so we're talking about $1,600, and he's filing a lawsuit for over $1,600. It doesn't sound right. I mean, either...
No, he's filing a lawsuit for the full project. Like he put the article that he put in the newspaper states that I never completed his website. I didn't provide him with the content management system. Nothing.
Huh.
He's asking for a full refund on everything.
Got it.
Even though that he signed off on everything and provided final payment.
Jag, you have any insights into this?
So does this, Jordan, does this person normally sue people? Is there a history of that?
I'm not too sure. I mean, his company just won the Canadian Entrepreneur Award of the Year. They're actually a pretty big company in North America. But in terms of them suing other people, I'm not sure of that.
Well, it sounds certainly very suspicious from a reason behind it, because traditionally, I mean, a business wouldn't sue another business over that amount of money because the legal fees involved are just too high.
And the time, it's something's incongruous here, which means the person could be crazy or there's something missing. Have you had a conversation with the person and said, is there a way we can resolve this like gentlemen and not be wasting time in the newspapers, because you've probably got other projects you've got to work on, and this person's got things they want to do with their Entrepreneur of the Year award or whatever it is? I mean, did you even try to just put out an olive branch and say, hey, let's split the difference?
I have tried contacting him, and he just tells me to speak with his lawyer, which is what I did. And then I ended up eventually speaking with the lawyer, and they've recommended that I file my dispute notice and then countersue for defamation of character.
Yeah, certainly defamatory statements, or certainly the actions appear to be defamatory to you.
Yeah. Something's not right, though. I think if this person won the Entrepreneur of the Year award, then they must have something going for them. I think we need to get this person on the phone, is what has to happen. So I think if you get Alex to get this person on the phone, I'll talk to the two of you and just resolve it right here on This Week in Startups.
Okay, we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I can resolve this issue very quickly if you get him on the phone, because you both have much more important things to be doing than haggling over such a trivial amount of money when you got the rest of your lives ahead of you. I mean, this is just nonsense on both parts. And you need to also, maybe when you have your contracts, make sure that you have contracts and you have work specs and everything on there, and you have a scope of work in your contracts?
I do, yeah.
And he signed off on all the scope of work and what would be done and what would be additional fees and everything?
Absolutely, which is why final payment was made on the website.
Wow.
Because he agreed that everything was complete and final payment was made. So
So you go. I mean, it's probably going to be small claims court. You may not even need to have a lawyer. So just
No, it is small claims court.
Yeah.
Like he's suing me for $7,250.
All right, so you go to court and move on with your life. I mean, that's what I would do. I had a similar issue in one of my businesses. Somebody sued us. It was ridiculous because they didn't do the work we asked them to do. We didn't pay them. They sued us. People were like, "Oh my God, you've got $20 million in venture capital, and you're going to fight $3,000 charge or whatever it was." And we sent our VP of operations up, and we won in small claims court.
Yeah.
And so I always feel like if you go represent yourself in small claims court and you win, and move on with your life. But don't get obsessive about it, because some people do get obsessive about these lawsuits, and you have something called an opportunity cost, and you don't want to get all your time sucked up with this, because it's a waste of time in your life to have all this negativity.
Waste of time, just bad energy.
Yeah, it's bad energy, and maybe you can talk like a gentleman to the lawyer and say, like, what's wrong with your client? We don't understand. We did the best we could, and maybe you'll get through to them. If not, you just go to the court and you just have them work it out and move on to your next client.
Okay.
I always like to fight the good fight. So, like, if this guy is disparaging you, I would get 3 clients who you've done a great job for to just email them and say, hey, can you write up 3 great things about what we're doing? Give me a testimonial. I'll put it on the website, and you can counter it with all the positivity. Then when the journalists are doing these stories, you just say, hey, here are the names of 3 people I've done work for. Here are their email addresses and phone numbers. They will vouch for my work.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. Actually, I revamped my landing page on my website there, and I've got testimonials, voice testimonials, everything. So.
Well, listen, you're a big boy. You're in the service business. This comes with the territory. Sometimes if you have clients, sometimes they can be pissed off. You have partners, they can become pissed off. You got to deal with it. It sucks. Trust me. I had a federal lawsuit against me for trademarks, over a decade ago. I've had people tell me they were going to ruin my career. I mean, all kinds of threats of lawsuit. Keiretsu Forum calling my venture capitalists, telling me they're going to sue them and me just a couple weeks ago. Don't let it bug you.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure, and there isn't really anybody. Lethbridge is a smaller community of 90,000 people, and there really isn't anybody in the IT industry that I could go to and ask this kind of question. So I figured if I had the opportunity to ask somebody like you who is in a similar industry, that would be beneficial to me.
It's a valid question. You got something else to add?
I think that Jason's right. You should move on. Definitely don't ignore it. Get it to the closest, fastest possible end that you can, and just move on with it. Yeah. But don't let it sit there, and don't expect it to go away. You'll have to do something about it.
And if you take the high ground, you probably won't regret it. Yeah. So, like for Keiretsu Forum in that example, you followed the Keiretsu Forum drama. I'm taking it, Jordan, and they could have just easily said, you know what, Jason has some great ideas. We obviously respect what he's done in the industry, and he's a good-looking guy. And whatever they want, throw out 3 compliments and say, but we have a different model. Nobody's ever complained about our model. Our customers seem to like it. Our angels seem to like it. So if he wants to put a different product in the market, we're interested to see if he can evolve our model. If they had done that, there would be no issue. There would have been no fight. There would have been no controversy. So just keep it up on a high level. Don't get down in the mud pit. Don't get into the details, because you can't win. He said, she said, you won't win. High level.
Exactly, yeah.
We do great work. Here are our clients who say we do great work. We're sorry they feel they didn't get their money's worth. We'll do whatever we can to try to resolve it with them. Short, sweet, to the point. Move on to your next client.
Okay.
Rock on, dude. All right, man. Keep your chin up.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
You've been in business for how long now?
Since 1990, actually.
So you've been an entrepreneur for a long time.
Yeah.
You've been sued a half dozen times, or threatened to be sued.
Not as many, once only, actually.
Only once an actual suit. Probably been threatened a couple times.
Yeah.
It's part of business.
I think it is. I think, and the bigger the business is, the more successful it is, the more common the legal action is, because there's more value in suing someone who can actually pay for it. But no value in suing someone who doesn't have any money.
Right. And you don't have to be right in order to hire a lawyer. You don't have to be right in order to file a lawsuit. That's the plus and minus to the legal systems in free countries like Australia and the United States, you could be 100% wrong and file a lawsuit. Create a lot of agita and paperwork for the other person.
Yeah,
There are
well,
some
that's-
safeguards, but
I think a lot of the people that do file the suits are probably not correct, and usually the people that don't file suits are just getting on with business.
exactly. I mean, if you're getting to that point, it's already broken down terribly. I mean, I've never sued anybody in my life.
Likewise.
I mean, if you talk to the good guys in business, they generally like, you don't want to work with me, you have a problem, we have a problem, disengage, move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I think there's some saying about one lawyer in town makes money, two lawyers in town, they make a lot of money.
All right, let's take the next question on Ask Jason. This is Dan, and he is on Skype maybe? Coming in, here we go. Okay, the old speaker phone. Dan the man.
Hi, Jason.
Great, you're on This Week in Law. Who's your lawsuit with?
Nobody yet.
No lawsuit yet?
Nobody
Well, I'm
ever.
going to sue you then. How long have you been listening to the show? What's your favorite episode?
About a month, and I've caught up. I've listened to all of them.
What?
Yeah.
You listen to 30 shows in a month? One show per
yeah.
day?
Yeah, about that. And sometimes more. I'm hooked on it. I'm telling everybody I know.
Wow, that's amazing. And what do? You listen to it when you're at the gym? You listen to it when you're at your desk? How do you listen to it? How do you watch it?
Usually at home, I just put the laptop up on the kitchen counter and you know, hang out, cook food or whatever, and listen to you guys.
Very impressive. If you've caught up that quickly, you are a super fan officially.
Right.
All right. So where are you calling from, and what's your question?
I'm up in Bellingham, Washington, about halfway between Seattle and Vancouver, BC.
Okay.
And my question is, I run a self-improvement and positive thinking community site. It's called positiveatmosphere.com.
Okay.
And it's off to a great start. We've got about 1,500 members, but I'm looking to really step it up and grow it at a faster rate. The people that are there really like what we're doing and are enthusiastic about it, so I'm sold on the idea that people are going to like it. I just need to let more people know about it.
Sure. And so your question is, how do I grow it?
Yeah, exactly. Right now, lately I've been doing the Gary Vaynerchuk method. You know, all hustle, a lot of social media, Facebook, Twitter, things like that. And I've been messing around a little bit with paid clicks, you know, AdWords, Facebook ads, and I'm kind of looking for some perspective on what the best way to get going is when you're new, you're on a relatively small budget, and what's the most effective.
Yeah, this is a great question. And you said you have 1,000 people or 150 people?
It's 1,500 members at the site right now.
Oh, wow,
we just
that's
cracked
great.
that in the last day.
Awesome. So it seems like we've crashed Positive Atmosphere here because a couple hundred people went to it.
Okay.
Maybe. Oh, wait, I see. Mine's loading. I think we just had like literally 300 or 400 people try to go there, but I see your
Okay,
site.
good. Well, thank you.
We
Maybe
are
I just need to call you every day, and that's
basically that's it. We are a community of positive thinking people with resources for self-improvement and personal development. The positive people and self-improvement resources on the site will help you enjoy greater happiness, abundance, and prosperity. Remember, success is a journey, not a destination. Reclaim your brain. Oh, that's an ad. Okay.
Yeah.
So people need to have a reason to come to a site,
Right.
and you have to keep it exciting for them. You have to keep the conversation going. So I like to create excitement about things and constantly be doing something I call demonstrative growth. This will be a chapter in my book if I ever finish it. And what I mean by demonstrable growth is showing that the community is building, showing that the site is building, the magazine is building, the search engine is building, the show is building, This Week in Startups, the podcast is growing. You want to show people and share with them the growth of the property because people want to be involved in something that is growing.
Right.
And so you have something that's growing. So I would suggest getting these people together and having some sort of a powwow every week. Maybe it is the Positive Atmosphere, webcast where the community gets together, like we're doing here, and talks about the site and the stuff going on the site. And one week it might be 5 people, the next week 20, and you sort of get that core group involved in spreading the word for you. We've done this at Mahalo, and it works really well.
We actually have done that, and we've used Ustream, and it worked great. Everybody loved it.
Yeah. And the more you can push out the marketing and branding and the growth of the site to the edges, to your users, the better. So obviously that's what viral marketing is when the community is doing the marketing for you. And I think the best way to do that, obviously, is to have the software where you log in and then invite your friends to join something. So if you're having one of these discussions of positive thinking, you got to figure out a way to get your people to go to their Facebook and publish it there.
Right.
All those little blocking and tackling things will grow it. Let me ask Jack what his thoughts are.
Sure.
Yes, certainly. I think one of the things is understanding the user base that you currently have and what attracts them, and seeing if there's any points there that can be worked on further. Do you know much about that at the moment?
Yeah, well, I know what our proposition is. You know, what our USP is that we're a place where people can come and discuss positive thinking. A lot of people out there, they go to Barnes & Noble and buy a book, and then they go home and sit on their couch and read it, and they don't really have friends or coworkers to talk with about it.
And what's the demographic of that community?
It's mostly younger so far, and I think a lot of that is due to the majority of the marketing being on Facebook and Twitter and things like this.
Okay. So is there anything that you feel you could leverage off the particular demographics and maybe other groups that your users already are involved with?
Yeah, and I've really been trying to do that a lot with Facebook. I have a positive thinking page on Facebook that's up to over 23,000 people right now.
Wow,
and
that's great.
Yeah, so I use that, and I put out a lot of content. It's a lot of, it's just like Gary Vaynerchuk's always talking about, good content. It's not about me or the website. We put up a pretty picture with an inspiring quote, and then there's always a link there to our website. And occasionally, maybe once a week or so, we post something that says, hey, we'd love it if you'd check out the website and tell your friends about it if you like it. So.
And what about the events that you host? What happens at those?
Well, right now they vary quite a bit, because actually I'm glad you asked that. Where the website is the hub to connect people, and then we encourage local groups to get together face-to-face. We have a group here in Bellingham, and a lot of times we'll have a speaker. Sometimes we'll play a video and have a discussion so that people can actually meet real live people face-to-face and build real friendships.
So it sounds like locally you're doing quite a lot for it. Who's doing the organising for this? Is it purely you, or do you have a team or active supporters?
It's myself in Bellingham, and then I get a lot of volunteer help from people here locally, some friends of mine and that are into this kind of thing. And then we're also encouraging other groups, like in St. Louis next week. I'll be there for the first meeting in St. Louis, and so we're letting members step up and start their own local groups with our support, and they can ask us questions.
Well, that certainly sounds like the way to go, because it's the energy of the group that will drive the enthusiasm and support for it. So I think you're probably doing the right things in that.
Yeah. Look at Maslow, since you're into positive thinking and psychology, obviously. What drives people? Recognition, affiliation.
Yep, right.
And if you can recognize the leaders in your community, and obviously you have a big driver in affiliation, people are all into, and you have something a pivot point, which is kind of cool, the books, which that was the thing that stood out to me. Because I know I'm looking at your book list, and I've read some of these books, how to influence people and whatever, I've read Authentic Happiness and some of these other books. I really think there's something there that could scale. And book clubs are a phenomenon, right? Why? Because you took something that's solitary, that people feel very charged about, books, and you made them social. So if you can keep that going, you can combine a couple of the trends there with a couple of the web trends, which is social networking as well as streaming video, live video. So why not take one of the books and say, we want somebody to lead a book group for the next 5 days. Every night at 8 o'clock, we are going to discuss a chapter. And for 2 weeks, we're going to get through this book, Monday through Friday. We're going to do all 10 chapters. So show up having read one chapter. And you could have that start and rotate. So, people as a group can discuss the book chapter by chapter. And it's a finite amount of time.
I love that idea, Jason. I actually know just the guy, because we have groups on here just like Facebook does. A guy named Laren up in Anchorage, Alaska, started a group and actually formed a discussion for each of the 47 chapters in this book.
Right.
So he's doing exactly what you're saying, but online, and we could put that on Ustream. That's a great idea.
And pick the book that is the most popular today. So then when you get the SEO of it, and then the author is going to eventually find out. You have the author come on. And
That's excellent.
by the time you get to chapter 6 or 7, maybe the author comes on. I know we were talking about Good to Great here, which is a very, it's more of a business book, but it's sort of got a positive angle. You could actually leverage the This Week in Startups audience and say, hey, we're gonna read this business book and talk about it. We're gonna do the first 3 chapters on this date, the next 3 chapters on this date, the next 3 chapters on this date. I mean, you've got a good start here, and the website looks okay. It's sort of 1.0. It's a little all over the place, to be honest.
A little busy, yeah.
A little busy, a little all over the place, and I'm a little confused as to what is the core reason I'm here. That's okay, though.
Yeah.
Part of starting a good company, a good website, is starting. And so you've started. You've done what 99.9% of people don't do. Now that you've started, you've got to figure out what is exactly the reason d'etre. What is the reason you exist? What is the thing you're going to do better than anybody on the planet? And it seems to me that getting groups of people together to talk about positive psychology and positivity on a regular basis is a huge, huge win.
Right.
There is a lot of money in this self-improvement area,
Yep,
a ton, and you have people who are charged up about it. So I would change your website into a calendar. Tonight, today, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, starting in 5 minutes. And tomorrow is this, this, and this, and Wednesday is this, this, and this. And put the logos of the books there, and put that's what you're discussing. Or put a video of Tony Robbins. We're going to discuss this Tony Robbins video. And you let Tony Robbins know. It's Tony Robbins Tuesdays.
Yep.
And on Tony Robbins Tuesdays at 7 o'clock, all the Tony Robbins fans get together and discuss Tony Robbins for 2 hours. And you put that in a calendar. You let them add it to their calendar. You put it in a Google group, a Yahoo group, whatever. I mean, this thing could explode. Tony Robbins Tuesdays. Pick another thing.
Great idea.
Family Fridays.
We will. We'll implement these ideas. I really like the book club. Picking a current book. We'll do that.
Marriage
We'll start that
Mondays.
right away. Yeah. Yeah.
Like this whole positive psychology of being a couple. You could just have that be every Monday. Like, hey, you and your spouse, if you want to have a better relationship, Mondays is when we focus on that. And you sort of use these day parts.
Right.
And you know what? There's people home during the days. You got stay-at-home moms or dads. Positive psychology for kids. You know.
And there are huge groups all over the place already on Facebook and our website.
Yep.
All over that already focus on these things, and that's a perfect place for us to let them know what we're up to.
Yeah. I mean, at some point you gotta figure out exactly what's working the best, and then ride that hard. And it seems like you're getting close. So I really like the domain.
Great. Thank you.
I
was surprised it was available.
I'm surprised, and I think you could. I like the clouds and the design.
Thanks.
And I don't like the green in the logo, but I'm trying to keep it positive. The good news is you can always redesign a logo.
Right.
I would make a nice, more, just a better logo. Somebody will make it for you. Go to 99 Designs or something.
Yep.
But you're off to a good start. And you're gonna. It's an easy way to make money. You can sell books, and Audible and all that kind of stuff.
We're doing that. Yeah. Affiliate sales. Yep.
Well, I think the thing that'll be next is you can charge to be a member of these groups.
True. Yeah.
So like if it really works, you can say, Tuesday we're going to have this person on, this author. And if you want to be on, you have to have a VIP membership, which is $25 a month, and you can come to the VIP event. So you have a calendar of events that are free, and then one event a day is not free.
Sure. No, that's a great idea. Sort
Pay
of
for
the
the
freemium
VIP
model. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking about doing that on This Week in Startups.
Okay.
Because there's so many super fans. I was thinking about doing a show once a month, Tyler, that would be, because somebody was doing this with Leo Laporte This Week in Tech. What would you pay for? How much is it worth? And I was thinking, if we had a VIP membership that was $100 a year, and during that would be just a show that would be just like Ask Jason, pure call-in show, once a month. We just sit here and meet Tyler Lon, whatever, and just take calls over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
And you have to get in, you have to have a password.
Yep.
And you can call on the phone, and nobody else can come to that. It's like sort of like behind the scenes,
Yeah, it's the after party, right?
The after party, something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool. Don't be afraid to charge people.
Those are great ideas that we can get started on. I really appreciate that.
And what's the Twitter account? Is it Positive Atmosphere?
It's POS_atmosphere.
Oh, it's terrible. Was Positive Positive Atmosphere is too long.
It was too long, yeah.
And Patmosphere is taken?
Yeah, I don't remember if that was taken or not.
It's taken now.
I don't know if it's atmosphere. I don't know.
Excuse me. I have adult onset asthma.
Okay.
Apologize.
Yeah.
Found that out this week. My asthma's back. Who knew?
And Jason, I've got one more little kind of tweak on that same question.
Okay.
So I was looking at, okay, there's a lot of things you can do that are free and they drive traffic and they work, and then of course you can spend money and get members that way too. It looks like from the experiments we've done with ads, we can get new members for about $1 a piece, and our ad revenue with our current model with just AdSense, we make back about 60 to 70 cents in the first 12 months on that same member. So, my question would be, my budget's low. If I'm going to continue to fly this thing solo, I'm going to do all the free stuff, all the Gary V stuff. If I was to bring on a partner or an investor or whatever that could change the scene as far as having a bigger budget, I could grow this quicker by paying for clicks and things like that. What do you think? Should I do the slow burn, keep hustling and doing what I'm doing?
Keep it authentic and go slow burn until you get to 10,000.
Okay.
If you got 10,000 members and you got 1,000 people on the site every day, and you get 50, 100 people in these chats and stuff like that, then when you go to an angel investor, you really got something to talk about.
Okay.
Right now, you got sort of just dude in a website. You got to get it to that sort of next level, I think, before you go to the angel investors.
So when I'm at 10,000, should I call you?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have a plan to make it huge, but there is a plan out there to make it huge.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, there's 350 million people now on Facebook, right? If we can get 1% of them interested, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, just be careful with that, because that's like the donkey,
Right.
statistic move when you're talking to angel investors and stuff like that. I'm going to get 1% of this market, like that. I'm going to get 1% of all the people in the United States. It's like, be careful with that.
That's on my flashcard for my own mind and motivation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing you got to look at is how deeply engaged can you get somebody in this service? Can you get somebody on this service daily? Mm-hmm. Can you get somebody on this service for 2 hours, 3 hours? Can you get somebody to take out their credit card and buy a membership? That's what you should really be testing right now, is how deep will people go with your offering?
Right.
I certainly think that if you're going to be charging people for it or using that money back to invest in the business, before you go and ask anybody for investment, you should at least be able to prove that you can cover your costs with the way that the growth is happening. So that way, it's not a case of saying, I need this money to grow the business. It's a case of the business is growing. This will accelerate the growth.
Okay.
Yeah. I think also it's a good point, because if you're like, hey, I can get somebody in here for $1 and then I lose 30 cents, let's do more of that. People are going to go, wait a second, we're going to get 1 million people and lose $300,000? Like, it'd be good if you said, I can get somebody in here for $1 and I can make $3 off them a year. And I don't know when that stops happening. So it's good that you can cover 60%, 70% of the cost of acquiring a new member, but it's not great. And you have to go from good to great. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you got a little Shark Tank in there too. Keep listening to the show. Stay positive. And
I will.
I'm very excited. Keep us informed. Give us a call back in about 8 weeks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Good calls.
Yeah.
Good calls. How did you find inspiration and sort of information when you were starting off as an entrepreneur?
Well, I found it from the industry I was working in.
Yeah.
Going through the pain points, as it previously been mentioned on the show.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is.
So school of hard knocks, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
You banged your head against the wall.
Yeah. Or saw other people doing it and said, maybe this will take the pain away.
Maybe I shouldn't bang my head on that wall. Maybe I can find another wall to bang. When I came up in this business, you basically had to just figure it out. There weren't a lot of business books.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of resources, Now people are very obsessive about entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And I think a lot of young people have got the enthusiasm, but they don't have the world experience. And there's all these great enthusiastic entrepreneurs, but maybe the best thing for them is to, if they've got an idea in a particular industry, maybe find a job, no matter how meaningful or not meaningful that job is in that particular industry, but just get some background to the industry that their idea is about.
Right.
Before jumping into it and offering it as a concept.
People don't do too much homework. I'm always amazed by that. They just sort of they fill the boat up with provisions.
Yeah.
They've never gone sailing, and they just go right out into the ocean. They don't even think about talking to another captain of a ship and saying, hey.
Yeah, definitely. I think the phone call is the way to go. Pick the phone up and speak to people.
It is amazing,
at least.
If you ask for help, how much people will be willing to help you. Right. When I was starting my magazine, I asked Jan Wenner, of Rolling Stone. I asked Graydon Carter of Vanity Fair about magazine covers and how to make a good magazine cover and how to make a good magazine. The guys told me a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
These are like two of the visionary geniuses of the magazine business. Incredible.
Yeah, at both times that we kicked off any new products, I mean, it was certainly back before the internet was around as a main tool of business. It was a case of spending 2 weeks on the phone talking to people within the industry, potential competitors, anyone. And especially before you start, you're not known, so it's so easy to talk to people.
Right.
You know, especially if you're going to compete against them, they don't know who you are.
Right. That's Mark Cuban always did very well. He always told me, like, he would just go in and research everything and talk to everybody about every aspect of the business. All right, well, let's do a Shark Tank here. Do we have Shark Tank ready to go? All right, let's do it.
I need money. That's what I want. That's what I want.
I think they're going to get a second season.
What I want. That's what I want.
I saw the UK version.
Oh, that's Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's better. Okay, so now comes the part of the show that is very exciting for people, very tense. There's a lot riding on it, and there's no pressure, Adam, calling from the 602. Adam, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yes.
Ah, Phoenix, Arizona. And it's 107 degrees there today, I take it?
Not today. It's actually pretty cold, around 60.
Oh, wow. And so the real estate in Phoenix, absolute disaster or what?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. I go there once a year for this Allen & Company retreat. That's like the junior CEO retreat. And the last 2 years, I always ask drivers when I'm in another city, how's the real estate going here? What's the economy like? And the last 2 years, the guy said, there are so many houses on the market that are now half price. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's foreclosures all over the place in Phoenix.
So you're on Shark Tank. You know the rules. You have 60 seconds to pitch us. Jack is a very successful guy. He's from Australia, so they are pretty humble from when the guy's from Australia. But he's got money to invest. He would invest in a startup company if it was the right thing, right?
Absolutely.
I've made 2 investments this week, I think. 2. I can't announce either of them because the paperwork's not done, and it's not my job to announce them. But you got 2 people here who could potentially invest in your company. You've got people who listen to the show, who love great ideas. I get people who watch the show and then say, can you put me in touch with those guys? Or what did you think of that idea? Is it legit? And you got the Open Angel Forum starting. So there's a world of possibilities here. Don't screw it up, okay?
I'll try not to.
Okay, no pressure. Now, you have us on speakerphone or something?
No, I'm using a headset into an iPhone.
Oh, headset into an iPhone, okay. Rule number 1, always use a landline for professional calls. You still got a little echo there, but that's okay. We're going to let you get away with it for now. -1 point for not using a real phone.
The landline is defunct in this house.
Oh, is it really?
I live off of the iPhone, yeah.
Oh, okay. This is always a pet peeve I have with people. My assistant.
Yeah, me too, actually. Me too.
My assistant requires that people who are calling me for like TechCrunch 50 to do like a proper thing have a landline, no cell phone.
I agree completely.
Okay, so given that, here we go. Somebody in the chat room is like, landline, what's that? It's just like, I guess I'm old now because when people call me to have a serious phone conversation and it's on a cell phone, I just like, I have this like crazy aversion. I'm like, when you get to a real phone, call me back because I really want to hear what you're saying. Okay, here we go. Adam, you're on.
I think I have a viable solution to a very real problem of sleep and relaxation in the U.S. and in Australia.
Yes.
We're pretty
I'm looking
relaxed.
to build. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm looking to build a wireless audio relaxation gear that essentially places a thin Bluetooth audio setup into a sleep mask style enclosure. This is a wireless headset inside a headband-like device that would allow for total immersion and relaxation, or simply pulled up as a headband so you can wear it around. Imagine sitting on a flight or lying down to sleep with no concern for putting away or unplugging a device and blocking external noise. That is precisely the world this offers. With Bluetooth audio quality no longer a major hindrance, I believe this product is inevitable and will be absolutely commonplace in a matter of years. A couple of prototype features include a reversible material for the eyes and ears and speakers that can be flipped around, a compartment in front of the eyes accessible for warm or cool packs, a very comfortable fit allowing complete freedom of movement. Like, say, just lie down, go to sleep, and forget about it. I'm looking for the resources to build the prototype, to patent the ideas, to conduct productive market research, and to produce a success-focused partnership. I think this product addresses a very clear existing want and need. Thank you for your time. The product is called Ground Control. That's my #1 name for it.
Cool. Okay. Good job. Your pitch was clear. I'm going to ask everybody in the Ustream room to rate 2 things. You're going to rate the pitch, and you're going to rate the concept.
Cool.
So you can put pitch and a number from 1 to 10, and you can do concept from 1 to 10. I think your pitch, very clear, very concise. I can visualize what you're saying. The concept, for me, not so interesting because I'm not into these relaxation things so much. I can sleep well, but I do know my wife has these different eye devices and all this kind of stuff. And I think if there was a high-tech one that had a Bluetooth in it and she could listen to music and had the, because she has the one that's the cold pack that you put on your eyes, and you take it out of the freezer and you put it on, and it's actually, sometimes she's like, oh, you look stressed out here, put this on your head, you know? Or sometimes if I'm, back from playing basketball and I'm overheated or whatever, I'll lay down on the couch and watch the Knicks. She puts a cold compress on my head. She tries to get me relaxed. There are people who are really into this stuff. So I liked your pitch. The concept may not be for me, but I think there's people for it. I think you need to get it a lot further along, and you need to see the competitive marketplace. And hardware is something I don't invest in because it's such a bad margin business. Yeah, so I'm kind of interested in hearing a little bit more about your concepts of that. But let me ask Jack what you thought of the pitch. How clear was it? Concise? And what do you think of the idea?
Yeah, so as far as the pitch is concerned, I think it was very clear. Obviously, you've rehearsed it well. The aspect where you started to go into the detail of the device probably is not as important at this point in time. Probably a case of pitching the concept and the idea and the benefits of it, as opposed to describing how the device is potentially going to be. But certainly as far as the idea is concerned, like Jason, I don't have an issue with sleeping or stress. I think for stress relief, I try and go and fly a plane, something like that.
Yeah.
But my wife, similar. She certainly has issues getting to sleep sometimes. Maybe I shouldn't mention that, but
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah, it's okay.
I mean, she has to live with you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so
I
there's
think
definitely
women are
people-
into this relaxation stuff. They're
Yeah,
more empathic.
And maybe that's-
everybody's wife is like that.
Exactly, and maybe that's something that needs to be considered here. Is that
Yeah.
it may be something that's more female gender orientated than male.
I'd like to say one thing for me. I don't want to unplug an iPhone when I'm actually trying to lie down and go to sleep listening to a book.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with the iPhone after that point. I want to lie down and go to sleep and have the timer take care of it.
So what we're dealing with here is not as much a relaxation device as a different type of Bluetooth headset.
Yeah. For me,
Different
it's not just
form factor of a
relaxation.
Bluetooth headset.
I'm sorry, the form factor?
It's like a different form factor of a headset. It's like a
Yeah,
headband that has a headset in it, as opposed to going to sleep with your earbuds in or your huge Bose thing on.
Exactly.
Okay,
That's
so
what I
now
want.
see,
Yeah.
it's more interesting to me now.
Yeah.
Much more interesting to me because I'm thinking about it saying, I might wear a headband when I'm on a flight because I want to sleep, but I do want to listen to something. And maybe it's like a headband that goes over your eyes. It goes over your ears nice and gentle, and I can roll left and right without hitting my ears. That's kind of interesting.
That's what I think. I think I want to not worry about any devices once I'm trying to go to sleep or lie down.
It's interesting. If it had a thing where it automatically turned off after 60 minutes, I might like that, even like a little button that turns off after 60 minutes, like a timer. I might like that feature too.
Or a button where it remembers the point where you fell asleep, so you know where to start the book off again.
That would be good too. How would it know? It'd have to
Yeah,
read
that's-
your. If it read your brain waves, that would be extremely expensive. Tyler, what do you think of this concept? You have a feeling for the headband with the speakers in it?
I
rub my toe on the end of my bed whenever I need to go to sleep. It just
Yeah.
calms me. But yeah, I mean, I like the ideas that are a little unconventional. This certainly falls under the sort of unconventional, and I would try and get some statistical data, like go to a local college like USC, UCLA here in town, whatever the town you're in, have them test it out and do a lab on it and get some data and some numbers on it and see if it's
That's the other aspect of it.
I mean, if it does turn out to statistically prove to be very useful, press will run that story all day long.
Yeah.
Is it the aspect of the fact that it's hardware? Just for me, being a software guy, hardware is
Makes
so
you
much
cringe.
harder.
Right.
Yeah.
Except you have examples like Flip that did a big exit. And so Crunchpad, a bit of a disaster right now with the lawsuit or whatever. But it is getting, I mean, you have the Jawbone. So there is some precedent out there now for the hardware business getting a little easier. And I think you need to get in the chat room, talk to some of the people there. You're not going to get investment for this to build a prototype and don't think. I think you got to get a little further along on your own. You're going to need to get some specs made up. I think you should find a partner who's a hardware guy. So there's a website I own called Hackaday, hackaday.com. Go to hackaday.com and try to find somebody who can help build this. But you know what? Somebody just posted in the chat room, I hate to break your heart, but can we pull this up on my screen? This is sleep phones, pajamas for your ears.
Yeah, that thing misses the mark completely. It's a piece of, well...
But you know about this. You're aware of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
And so how is your idea different?
Well, those things are hideous for one thing.
Okay.
This pajamas for the ears plugs into an iPhone. It plugs into a device, not wireless.
Okay.
You still have to deal with putting away the device before you go to sleep.
Okay. So those are good. So there are things in the market that are close but not close enough in your mind.
Right. It's the difference between a touchpad cell phone, dumb phone, and an iPhone. It's one thing hits the mark and one thing misses it.
Got it. Okay. I think, like Matt Coffin said, you got to really, when you give the pitch for these things, say that up front, that there are some things out there that are close to it. Because remember he said, I don't know if you saw the Matt Coffin episode, that always pissed him off when people were like, he would go research and see there's competitors, but he had asked them if there's competitors, and he didn't find them. You got to be upfront about that, okay? So that's a little criticism of your pitch there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you're going to need to have a little bit more, I think you can get a little further down the road. But people are, it's interesting, and this is always how it is as an entrepreneur. As you unfold your idea, you start to sell people on it. So in the chat room, I've been watching, and people are starting to come around to your idea in the chat room. And the This Week in Startups community, there's 400 people watching right now. These are intelligent people, and they're starting to say, hey, the concept, I thought it was a 2, now I think it's a 6. I thought it was a 5, now I think it's a 7. So people are coming around to it since we started describing it as a headband. So there's a real-time focus group for you. The headband, that goes around your eyes, and it's really good for, to listen to something while you go to sleep. And here's where headphones break down. Start thinking about this if it's helpful, like an infomercial. And if I was doing on an infomercial, this is how I would do it. Have you tried these big headphones? They're great for noise canceling, but when you try to sleep, donk, donk, you can't turn your head. And they go off like this. Oh, this is terrible. Boom, next one. And earbuds, wow, they're great when you're running on a treadmill, but after an hour, they're really painful. Ow. And make a funny video like that. And then be like, what if there was a device that was soft and easy to wear and relaxing so you could sleep and enjoy your music? Da, 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 the headband, the blue band or something. Because it's Bluetooth, the blue band, or if that's available. And come up with a really good name that just sort of puts it on there. And you know what? You might be able to make this thing for $20 and sell it on an infomercial for 40. I don't know anything about that world, but you might be onto something. And I think that you need a partner who is a person who makes hardware, a fabricator. Are you a fabricator?
I'd like to build it. I'm not sure I'm that person that can do it in a large production setting, though.
Yeah, I would be good if you had a partner who was like a fabrication kind of prototyper.
Just getting back to that pitch.
Yeah.
And based on what you just said there.
The problems, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we kicked off talking about relaxation and sleep, but that's not what this is about.
No.
So I think maybe the pitch is a little bit worse than we originally thought.
Right. The pitch was clear for a bad product.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But I mean, that's how it is. I mean, you could listen. You can describe things any different way. I could describe Mahalo as a search engine with content and Q&A, or a content engine with Q&A and search, or a Q&A engine with some content and search. I mean, it's all different ways that you can present yourself, and depending on the audience, they may or like it more or not. When you describe this as a more comfortable headset, as opposed to a relaxation device, and one that doesn't hurt like earbuds and it's not clunky like over-the-ear earphones. It's a revolution in
Because you'd use it for exercise as much as relaxation.
You might use it for exercise. These are just, another more comfortable choice.
Yeah.
So you're onto something. You're not crazy. Well, you may be crazy. Let's face it. But you may be onto something and crazy. And your pitch maybe the pitch you gave was good for women, but not for men. There's a male audience here on This Week in Startups. I hate to say it, but maybe people, we have to know your audience.
So the pitch may have hit a new age too much.
It was a little new agey. I was sort of like drifting
Yeah.
when you said that. I was like, oh, man, I'm not into this new agey stuff, relaxation, namaste. I don't need to relax. What do I got to relax about? I got a kid on the way. I got 2 bulldogs. I got employees. I'm not relaxing anytime soon. Yes, I want to listen to a business book. I'll listen to some Audible. Now you got me. All right.
So did I do the right thing? Do you think saying this out there, right? That's the right thing to do.
What, to pitch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, get the party started. I mean, listen,
Right.
you got nothing going on now, right?
That's
Right.
So now you got something going on. Get in the chat room, embrace the Twist community, see if you can find a partner maybe, see if you can build some prototypes, and you gotta keep hustling.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right.
Okay, good call. Good luck with it. It got better.
Yeah, it definitely got better. I think something that has at least some concept of the design that's probably visual is definitely something that needs to happen with a hardware device like that. You need to be able to see it.
I think that's why as soon as people saw the screenshot, then the audience online was like, okay, I get it now because they saw that shot of
the other person's. Yeah.
Whilst like with Jason initially, it was going down that relaxation sleep path. I'm thinking, well, that's not anything that worries me. But
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly as far as the headset idea is concerned, I mean, you could use it for anything.
People in the chat room, I just patented it while he was pitching. You guys are bad. So, tell me, Jack, when did you start your company? Why did you start it?
Well, it goes back to when I was a commercial diver.
Commercial diver?
Yeah.
You were a commercial diver?
Yes.
Isn't that the most dangerous job, they say, the divers on the oil rigs? In terms of fatalities? I believe it is.
It's relatively dangerous. I think I lost about one person that I knew every year out of the group that we worked with, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so... And there were many times where, I mean, there was one time that I was pulled to the surface unconscious and thrown into a recompression chamber. And so it happened, and definitely people have been lost.
Wow.
Probably more often out of Asia, out of all the people that I knew.
In Asia?
Yeah.
Why Asia?
Diving in Asia. The regulations were certainly looser in Asia than what they were, say, in Australia and the UK. But so that's where it started. I effectively, when I left high school, I saved up funds to pay my own way to become a commercial diver, because it was a $20,000 expense, not something that you have lying around when you're just out of high school, unless you've got rich parents.
Which you didn't?
Which I didn't. No, working class parents. So then that was an investment in myself, and that was a great career. I enjoyed doing that for 6 years, but it wasn't enough for me mentally. I felt that I needed to do something different to that.
Yeah.
So it was quite successful. I ended up working inside an office of a small partnership of one of the largest suppliers of subsea services in Australia. And it was at that point in time that I was offered a partnership in that business. And it was a 3-person owner situation. And then they had this big breakup. And it was just at the time that I was going to pick up 10% of the company. And they said, look, Jack, we like you, all good, but we're not taking any new partners on board. We just had
Thing was
big-
imploding.
Yeah, it was like, you know,
Not fun.
we just got rid of one.
No, wait, back to the deep sea diving.
Yeah.
How deep were you diving? What were you doing? Was this like welding underground, or what exactly were you doing?
Welding, yes. Explosives.
Explosives?
Subsea cutting, pipeline connections, subsea
Wow.
completions. So oil and gas work.
How deep?
Most of the time it wasn't too deep. I think that because most of the oil fields around Australia are relatively shallow. So we're only talking about a few hundred feet.
Few hundred though.
Yeah.
So it could be 200, 300, 400 feet.
Yes, some of the deeper ones are certainly at 300, 400 feet. And I think the deepest that dive that occurred in Australia is about 1,500 feet.
Wow.
And that was a mixed gas dive.
Yeah. And you
That
have
was
to
a
have
bounce dive, not by me.
a bounce dive means what? You just go to the bottom and come right back up?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, and it was that type of diving is now no longer occurring. It's mainly done in saturation, which means that the guys go into a saturation chamber and they live in that for a period of time, and they transport to the bottom in a bell, and they're maintained at a working depth or close to the working depth, as opposed to in that particular case it was a guy diving down that deep.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
On my like fourth or fifth dive, the guy thought I was a natural. This is in Mexico, Blancar Reef. Guy's like, "Oh, you're a natural. Don't worry about it. You're certified now." And yeah, I did good on my test. I read the book. It takes me on a 130-foot dive. Should somebody after 4 or 5 dives be going 130 feet in your estimation?
Well, that's how they used to do it in the old days. That doesn't happen now. Or it shouldn't happen now.
I was told that this is extremely dangerous, 130 feet, for somebody who's done 4 or 5
yeah,
dives.
certainly. And as far as toxicity, nitrogen toxicity is an issue for you, and you don't know how you're going to react to that.
Right.
So you could go.
You can go loopy.
crazy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Be like, "Hey, I'm just going to take my thing off."
Yeah.
So then, after that, you go and start a business yourself?
Yeah. Well, I think at that stage I was offered a job, and I think this sort of stems back to some of the investors that were saying, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you just need to go and do it.
Yeah.
As opposed to do it part time.
There was an Ask Jason call just coming in, but
Yeah.
they decided they didn't want to ask us.
So so the job was offered for me without the partnership in the business. I didn't have any interest without having some ownership at that point in time. So I moved on. Effectively, the company that I was working for became one of my first clients. And at that point in time, I also self-trained myself in Novell Networks.
I used to be a Novell Network certified engineer.
There you go.
Oh, that's so funny.
So this is before NT came out.
Yeah,
So
long before. So everybody's using Novell Network
That's
to
it.
do their file sharing and everything.
Yeah, so I left and I kicked off a business that we installed networks, supplied hardware, and that grew from, I brought a friend into it. He was a teacher, brought him into it.
And so the previous company that wouldn't sell you, wouldn't let you buy in, became your first client.
Yeah, they
I
maintained
always
that.
tell people this.
Yeah.
When they were like, "Oh my God, I'm going to leave my company and they're going to hate me and then I'm going to start my businesses." No, leave your company that you're at now and make them your first client because they know you and you can solve their problem.
Exactly. You just
People
gotta
do
leave
it all the
right way.
time. Yeah. And so I did the same thing. In the early 90s, I was a Novell Network certified engineer, used to put in Ethernet cards. And before that, token ring. Because people don't remember this in the chat room because they're 12 years old.
Coaxial cables.
Yeah, we did
They were a lot
RJ58
of fun.
cables. We had to crimp them.
Yes.
We had to crimp Ethernet cables. I used to have the crimper tool. You have a cable. You had to splice like 3 layers,
Yes.
right? And then you have to put the crimping tool on. You crimp it.
Yep.
The twister. Oh my God! And then when people's internet connections didn't work, or not even their network connection because you weren't on the internet usually. You're just your network in your office. If it didn't work, they would just hold the cable like at a different angle, and the crimp would get tighter or whatever. And then all of a sudden it would work again.
Yeah.
I just said, "Oh, hold your cable like this." It would work.
They were horrible things because, the coaxial cable was so stiff, and any one of them could fail. It brings down the whole network.
Yeah, they were daisy chained.
Yes.
If in the old days one Ethernet cable would go into the card, another one would come out.
Yeah.
They weren't whatever they call not daisy chained, point to point or whatever. God, coaxial cable. Somebody in the room remembers coaxial cable.
Yeah.
That is
So
fun.
that was a lot of fun. So we kicked that off in 1994, and seriously as far as the name's concerned and so forth, and a partnership and employees. Prior to that was just the 2 of us, and we were picking up contracts that were just too big for us to handle. So
Yeah, at that point, everybody was upgrading their computers
Yeah.
to networked.
Because
Because they used to have SneakerNet before that, run
Yes.
floppies from one floor to the next.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it was costing $1,000 a workstation to move them on, because a network card at that day and age, a network card was $500-$600. Novell Network was $200 a seat,
Yeah,
and $200 to install cable. It'd be $1,000, $1,500 to put your computer on the network.
yeah, exactly.
So somebody would come to you with a company with 400 people and say, we're going to give you $500,000 to network the computers, plus the servers.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen now.
Wouldn't happen now. Now when you get the Ethernet in there, it's built in, and
Yeah,
Wi-Fi, you don't even need to.
exactly. And Wi-Fi just makes such a difference as far as small companies are concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whilst in those days, a small company with 15 employees, you needed to go through all this expense if you wanted a network.
Incredible, yeah.
So, so from that point, we also kicked off a software development side.
Smart.
And that was based on my industry knowledge in the commercial diving industry. So the first product that we kicked off was a product called Inspection Manager, which was to do with gathering the information for subsea wellhead pipelines, the actual structures of rigs. Because
So wonky vertical software.
yeah,
That people
very
would, that people would pay a lot of money
yeah.
for.
Well, yeah, the first license we sold was $75,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the other option was write it yourself,
Yes.
or use Excel or something.
Well, I mean, at that point in time, one of the companies in Australia was using their own software, and that cost them $800,000 to write.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you were saving them 90%.
Yeah, and it was a much improved product as well.
Right.
So,
And so somehow this turns into WebSpy?
so it's a case of the business is growing in different directions. So we
Right.
have the development side kicked off, the networking side, and then the internet aspect of it. So we became an internet service provider as well.
So you were an ISP
An ISP doing
and
software
making vertical software and doing
and
network
installing
integration.
networks. Yeah, that's
Great.
It. Yeah.
So now you've got 4 different business units, 5 different business units.
So and as we're doing this, as the internet becomes more and more, I guess, used by people, and people coming on board from a network point of view and saying, well, I'm concerned about putting the internet on because I know what I do on the internet when I get home.
Right.
I don't want that sort of access
Sure.
occurring at work. And that's how the WebSpy product came about as well.
Ah, I see.
So in actual fact, it was a tool that helped our customers to come online because they were saying, no, I don't want to, there's benefits of the internet,
Right.
but I'm concerned about connecting it.
Right.
And I said, well, take the worry away, just control it, manage it, and so forth.
Interesting. And you raised no venture capital for the business? It just grew off revenue?
Well,
Because it was a service-based business?
true, although we had, Tyler and I were speaking about this before the show, in Australia the government actually does help start-up companies.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So there's certain assistance through Austrade and Oz Industry in Australia, which is really
And how
helpful.
does it take place? They'll give you dollar for dollar matching or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Investment?
Exactly, and it depends which program they're running. But over the years, the two styles of program that we've seen is a dollar for dollar match, either through a loan, which is almost no interest and no repayment terms. So in other words, in that particular case, we had a $500,000 loan, and if the company went bust, we were not up for it.
You're not personally liable?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So that's really usable. I mean, obviously you need to invest your own money to counter that, so that it's not just given away.
Right.
You need
So
to
it's
also
matching.
be sharing the pain.
So you're putting in 500, they're putting in 500. So if you lose their 500, you've by definition lost their 500.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is how angel investing is done in Down Under. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's
incredible.
ve-
And
it's
where
very
how does the
helpful.
government get this enlightenment to do this and this money to do it? I guess because of all the natural resources in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, Australia's doing quite well even in the current climate,
Right.
as you're probably aware. It's a little bit sad because I think sometimes we take the natural resources out and don't really reinvest enough. Because at the end of the day, the companies that are getting those resources out are paying taxes and royalties and so forth. But the material's in the ground free, and technically it belongs to everybody on the planet.
Right.
It's coming out of this particular hole in this country, but
Right.
But
But who owns that? The government owns those large swaths of territory that have the materials?
Yeah, effectively the government will come out and put leases out, and just like anything,
So you can
particularly
go-
in WA, you can peg ground. Offshore leases, slightly different approach to it. So we have quite a large mining industry in Western
Yeah,
Australia.
and that's how China's getting all their natural resources now, is
Part of, I think China is very self-sufficient in its own natural resources, but it does buy a lot and invest a lot.
I mean, you guys have had, Australia's had like a surplus in terms of like revenue.
We have. In actual fact, the last figures were even a small surplus, so which is quite amazing from a.
Unbelievable. In the United States, it's like every year we have a huge deficit.
Yeah.
Your country has a surplus.
Although it doesn't help an exporter because the Australian dollar is going
right
through the roof.
Australian dollar is getting stronger.
Yeah.
and stronger.
Although American exporters must be pretty happy at the moment.
I guess so. We still export a lot out of here. But one thing I found fascinating when I was in Sydney last year, or a year before when we went, the minimum wage in Sydney and in Australia is like $12 an hour, $14 an hour. Is this correct? It was something extraordinary.
I've never paid minimum wage to anybody,
No,
so I'm
of
not
course.
sure about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
It was some extraordinary amount. I was like, wow, geez.
I think the average is about between 50 and 60,000.
Yeah, it's incredible. There is a true middle class there. There's like you can be middle class and have a sustainable, nice life.
Yeah.
Although you don't have unlimited internet access.
No, we don't.
This
Not at
is
all.
so the whole idea here of putting metered access, which is what Comcast and some other clowns have been talking about doing. What impact has that had on innovation and on the internet in Australia?
Australia has had issues with, I mean, we always go to another country and look at it and go, this is amazing, you get this much access for such a low cost.
Right.
When we kicked WebSpy off in a big way, and I went over to the US to set up the Seattle office, I was paying less for an internet connection at home and getting more value out of that from bandwidth and download capacity than what the work internet connection was like in the head office.
Crazy.
Yeah, just that's the difference. It's quite amazing.
And so inhibits innovation, inhibits the ability for a business to really play with that internet connection and take chances and do crazy things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ustream would probably be hard business to kick off in Australia.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Hulu, not a chance.
Yeah.
Do the people watch streaming television?
Yeah, definitely now. Yeah.
They're starting to, and you have a bandwidth cap though. So if you go to a certain amount, they just shut your bandwidth off, or you have to go pay another fee.
You either pay per megabyte or per gig, or either sometimes it'll get choked down to a 56K equivalent connection, which is like totally not usable. It might as well be cut off because.
So they're like, you've used over your limit.
Yeah.
Now you can do your email slowly.
Yes, slowly.
Oh, God Almighty.
But at the end of the day, when you look at the Comcast thing, I think the numbers that they do base this off are real numbers because they've got to classify it as something and they give you a figure. Now, at the end of the day, if everybody tried to use that figure at the same time, they're not going to be able to supply it.
There's no way.
So really, there is a physical limit no matter where you are, almost, based on the number of people you're concerned. So the trick is to pitch it right and to sell it correctly. If you're going to charge me for this amount, I want it at any time of day or night.
Right.
And I want it to be quick. As opposed to, you're charging me for
So there's really a communication problem, and they should be able to say, like, your max connection would be this, your average connection is this, and your lowest possible is this.
Yeah.
Really hard to put in a television commercial.
Yes. Yeah.
25 megabits down at a maximum.
Yeah.
But a minimum of 2.
You could always...
and on average 18.
Just like the end of the medical commercials.
Right. While you may have 25 megabits down at 3 in the morning, when your neighbors are not downloading porn, and 2012 off of BitTorrent. Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you decide that you're going to take the other parts of the business and just play them down? I mean, that's got to be a hard decision when you have those revenue-generating parts of the business.
What we did is we effectively took our business into a public entity. There was a public company that was into mining, and this was back in 1999. .com happens.
Sure.
They didn't really have good assets, so they then decided to go down the .com path. So we got acquired at that point in time. And I effectively took over management of that public company back in 1999, and that's when we did our first raising. So we did 2 million pretty much the next day. All we did is knocked on a door, and they said, "How much did you want?" And
this is 1999.
Being foolish, we didn't give them a figure that was larger.
Next time, ask for 20.
That's right. And straight after that, we did another raising that was effectively some options being paid out, which is another $6 million.
Oh wow!
So as soon as we moved into the public sphere, we had $8 million to play with. But it was ridiculous because some of our competitors had 70 million US that they were raising at the same time. And we're raising 8 million Australian, which back in 1999 was 48.52 cents to the US dollar.
Right.
So,
Basically, you have
we had 4 million
1.5 Super Bowl commercials.
Yeah, that's right.
Compared to your competitors.
Yeah, exactly. So, and of course, it was a crazy time because I moved over to San Francisco, and the cost of just living in San Fran
became crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the cleaners were getting 50,000 US per annum. Trying to hire any IT staff was almost impossible unless you were the right company or had enough cash.
Right.
So anyway, so that was interesting. But certainly from a WebSpy point of view, so prior to this point, we had the services business, which was the IT services business. That effectively got bought by my partner that I brought into the business in 94. He bought that out, and he's still running that today very successfully. So that's still going. The subsea software was sold off to a multinational last year for about $2.5 million.
Perfect.
All up. So now we've just got WebSpy, although we've just acquired another business, which is Market Boomer. That was purely a script for a deal for $4.8 million. And what Market Boomer have is a very good online procurement engine that's currently vertically targeted at the hospitality industry. They've got about over 200 hotels now. They've got something like 1.6 million items on a live catalog.
So it's like Amazon for those people.
Exactly, but I mean, it manages the order process and it fits into the company's structure as far as procedures for ordering. It follows through into the delivery aspects of it.
And is this company based in Perth as well, or?
They're based in Sydney.
Based in Sydney.
But have 10 offices around the world.
Great. So now you have another growth business.
Yeah, exactly. And there's even there's opportunities for us. They got 3,500 customers themselves. So there'll be opportunities for us to sell WebSpy into those customers. But more importantly, one aspect that they do is analysis of their customers' purchasing spend habits. And this is where the WebSpy tool, from a reporting point of view, will actually come in.
So you can leverage that technology.
So we can leverage that as well. So that's great. But more importantly, I mean, they have a great growth path. They've just recently signed a deal with Emirates Catering out of Dubai. They're currently handling about between 300 and 400 million dollars worth of orders through the system.
Wow.
So it's great opportunity for us to get into it now.
Perfect.
So
a good time at the bottom of the market to be buying assets as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so things are not. I mean, this might be a $50 million company in a couple of years. So.
Well, certainly, and they don't have at this stage. They haven't made any inroads into the US, and I think that's probably a big thing for us.
Getting to the US, some of those.
And it's the right time because effectively they're saving people money on procurement. So
totally.
It's now everybody's interested in saving money. A year ago, when growth was really full on, or just a little bit over a year ago, when growth was really full on, no one.
Not so much.
Not so much.
Not so much. Now it's probably working pretty well. So let's bring Lon in, talk about the news. Is Lon ready? Okay. And if you guys have questions there in the chat room, or you can use the #twist, and you can come in. There you go. On. Hurt his neck. Lon is hurt. Okay. Lon Harris is here.
I'm here.
How's your neck, Lon? Number one.
My neck hurts. I woke up yesterday.
You look like you're in such pain.
I know. I woke up. You could see. I can see now.
He's got that little tilt there.
If I literally cannot do more than this on this side. If I did that, even that is painful.
You look like Dr. Frankenstein over there.
Dr. Strangelove.
Dr.
sort of,
Strangelove,
yes,
yeah, you got a little creaking.
Yes.
Mafia. So let's hear what's in the news.
Let's hear what's in the news. All right, mobile.twitter.com. This week, Twitter previewed
What?
its new redesign
Oh.
for mobile.twitter.com.
I didn't even know that.
A few big improvements to their minimalist site that they had before. It was very Spartan previously. Now you get most of the features that a third-party Twitter app would have. At replies, direct messages, you see trending topics. And most
Wait, this is m.twitter.com?
Yes.
Mobile.twitter.com.
Mobile.twitter.com, but it previously was at m.twitter.com. I believe.
When I load m.twitter.com, it takes me to the regular one. Can you not go to it in your browser?
You
Perhaps.
can, but if you go to the mobile.twitter.com.
Yeah.
No, if I go to
this was just
mobile, it
M.
just took me to.
Oh, is it read? I guess they're still
Still redirecting.
this was-
Okay,
this was
anyway.
as of yesterday in TechCrunch, I was reading about.
Yeah, maybe
this.
they roll things out slowly.
Yes, and they're eating their own dog food, as Jason
Okay.
likes to say. They're using their own API to drive the site, so it basically works
Right.
like any Twitter app would.
Got it.
So what about companies like Seismic, Tweedroid? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
Tweety. Can those apps compete with Twitter itself now that Twitter's going to just start making a mobile platform?
If you build core functionality and you think it's a business on top of Twitter, you're very stupid. Now, I'm not saying Seismic is stupid or anything like that, but like the list companies,
Right.
right? I mean, everybody knew at some point, and I kept saying it for a year because I had asked Evan, why do I not have groups in here? I called them groups, he called them lists. He said, we have that, it's almost ready. That was like 2 years ago.
Right.
So of course I go out saying, oh, it's ready. And I'm get the inside information. It takes them like a year to get it out. And now all those lists, if you invested in building them off Twitter, they're gone.
Yes.
Well, guess what? Twitter will have its own picture service. Twitter will have its own TweetDeck client. You know, they're going to have inline images. They'll even have their own URL shortener, I bet. What will happen, though, because they want to have scale, is they're probably going to look at the assets that are in the market.
Right.
And what they'll do is, and this is what Microsoft does, this is what Google does, a lot of people do, they start building it, and there's some big asset over here, like let's say TwitPic.
Right.
So Twitter prepares Twitter, picture hosting, and they go to TwitPic and say, we'd like to buy you, and here's the price we'd like to pay. And TwitPic says no, and they say, okay, great, take a look at this. This is called a nuclear bomb, and this is called a pin, and there's your business, and we're about to pull the pin out, and you're going to be nuked. Would you like the deal now? And then they say, oh yeah, sure, we'd love to sell. That's what's about to happen, and they're going to do it to each individual person, and so that's why Seismic and TweetDeck are basically either going to sell to Twitter or be annihilated by Twitter.
Right.
And this is not any fault of Twitter's. This is the fault of people who are building businesses on top of other businesses. This will happen to Zynga inside of Facebook. At some point, Facebook and MySpace will say, we should have our own poker game, and they will build it. And time Zuckerberg says, oh no, we're not going to compete with those people, he's lying. If they're a publicly traded company, Facebook, they will wind up competing.
How could you recreate Fishville? I mean, it's so of its
Maybe
own,
they don't compete
of
with
itself.
Fishville, but the next Fishville.
Right.
So the point is, if you look at Microsoft said we're an operating systems company in the 80s, right? We were there doing IT consulting. You build your application, we build the operating system. Then what did they do? They made Microsoft Word. Then they bought Excel, right? Excel they bought, and then they started buying things. Then they made a whole suite of products, and they killed WordPerfect, Lotus 123, Quattro Pro.
Yep.
I mean, the streets are littered with people who thought that they would be allowed to be in the ecosystem. Twitter will run the whole ecosystem eventually, and their aspiration is to be a multi-billion-dollar company. How are they a multi-billion-dollar company if they don't control the pictures? If they don't control all the software? They have to control everything. If they're just the operating system and you're using TweetDeck and all the ad inventory is on TweetDeck, how does Twitter make money? They have to kill TweetDeck. They have to kill TweetPic. All those things will be gone or sold. That's my prediction. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's interesting how these companies actually help Twitter grow a certain aspect, because they come in and they provide a much better function to use Twitter. Obviously, they're also competing because they're also linking Facebook into the same system and so on. Is this going to? I mean, is Twitter going to link Facebook into theirs?
I don't know. That'd be. I mean, for Twitter to use Facebook Connect would mean you don't have to have a Twitter account.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah.
So
there's
Twitter
still-
Twitter is smart, is what you're saying. So like you can't log into Facebook with Yahoo or Twitter.
Yeah.
And you can't log into Twitter with Facebook and Yahoo. However, Yahoo allows you to log in now with Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, like you can always tell who's weak and who's, basically not so smart. I mean, I don't understand people who build businesses to build Facebook's business. I'm going to build some application. I told Mark Pincus, my personal friend for a decade almost, with Zynga, you should have farmville.com and you should be directing people there. And sure enough, he wound up launching that. It took him a while, but you're going to be in that ecosystem. You start making a lot of money. The eyes of the world are going to be on top of you. Zuckerberg's going to take your business.
It's just so tempting, though. I mean, if you start one of those games on Facebook and it's viral, it sends itself out there. But I mean, you got such a captive crowd. If you just launch fishville.com.
Right, so you can use the other person's ecosystem, but you have to be building your destination.
Yeah.
Mahalo is not an application inside of Facebook or an iPhone application. If we have an iPhone application, it's to build the .com domain name, the thing we own and control. Anybody who's doing these other businesses, Seismic, TweetDeck, these are not real businesses in my mind.
They're
They're
testing the
projects.
features.
They're features.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm a serious business guy. I'm not going to go build a feature of Evan Williams' company. Evan's my friend, but I mean, really, that's your business? I mean, in Zynga's case, it's a little different. Zynga has its own brands and whatever, but like Seismic and TweetDeck, they exist solely for the betterment of Twitter. It's not a good business. That's why, I mean, Loic is a friend of mine. He asked me to invest in Seismic. And a couple of my friends invested. And I told him, number one, I don't think video comments are going to work. I don't think people are good looking. Most people who comment on TechCrunch and YouTube are ugly. Bad lighting. I got people laughing out here. And they're not going to want to put their picture on there. And if you're a troll, right? If you're the guy from Center Networks, or you're like, whoever's a troll, Jimmy Wales or whatever, like, they're not good looking guys. They would rather just put a trolly comment than put a trolly video. They're not going to want to videotape themselves. Then people are like, oh my God, you're ugly, you're fat, you're dumb. They're just not going to do it. Anyways, that's why I didn't invest in it. And then he moved to his other model. I wouldn't invest in that model either.
Well, the Seismic desktop has a multi-functionality.
It's
not
awesome.
just a Twitter client.
Right. So I mean, check Trillion for how big did Trillion get? You want to be AIM, not Trillion.
Right.
The layer on top of it, you have your business is always going to be some percentage of the bigger business. I'd rather own the bigger business. It's just as much work too. That's the stupidity of it.
Yeah.
The guys at Seismic are working 80 hours a week. They could be working 8 hours a week to make their own Twitter.
I can't even imagine what that must
I
be
have,
like.
in defense of...
Oh wait, we have an insight.
You can roll it.
These guys are slow today.
Inside from Thailand.
Look at that. Where are we?
Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Sydney Harbour Bridge, also known as the hangar. Call it the
Oh,
hangar.
yeah, okay. Yeah, because of
hangar.
the structure.
Because of the
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Tyler and I on the top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't actually think that's you, but that's you.
That is me.
I know. I didn't believe it when
We
I first saw that
specifically
picture
took this
either.
picture because we looked like such idiots because we were laughing when the one was like
Never.
taking our
We'd
pictures.
Never say that.
And we were wearing these ridiculous
hats,
hats,
yeah.
and you have to wear this outfit. Have you done it?
No.
See, nobody who's local does this.
They make
They
you?
used to do it
But
when
it's not cheap. It's like $200 or something
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do it.
we did it for free because
Yeah.
the government paid.
Yeah.
Australian government's paying for everything.
Yeah.
No, we were guests of the state, so they took us up on the bridge. But people used to do this climb illegally
Right.
Yes.
when they
Yeah.
were drunk,
Yeah.
right? This is what and people used to climb up on the Opera House.
That's the folklore. Yeah.
That's the folklore. And so they said, you know what? Instead of people getting drunk and going up this thing,
We'll charge 'em.
let's do it during the day and get them sober and give them a breathalyzer. And so when you take this thing, you have to take a breathalyzer test. And they put you in this outfit. Can we just put up the image without playing the song? Or you have to do both? Do both for a second.
I got 1 second.
Yeah, just put it up. I just want to show the image one more
Let's
time.
not get too complicated on here. It's not
So
James
as you can
Cameron
see,
back there.
that's Tyler on the right, and that's me on the left. And we look like we took the short bus to school.
Why do they make you wear those caps?
The cap is also tied to your jacket in the back,
what's
and
the
we're wearing
function?
jumpsuits. It's so windy that they don't want your hair blowing in your face and you falling off the bridge. Then you also got the sunglasses that are tied, right?
Everything on you is tied. Nothing can fall off.
Nothing can fall off. You're not allowed to bring your phone. You're not allowed to bring anything. You go through a...
And you can't fall off. You see behind Jason's back, he's clipped to that wire.
Yeah. I mean, you could jump off and you'd be hanging off the side, though.
Right.
I mean, it's dangerous.
But the most interesting part is that gadget that's on your temples. That's a bone-conducting earphone.
Yeah.
It doesn't go in your ear canal. Just you can feel the
So you
person
can talk.
talking on the bone of your. It's
But
really
I have to
weird.
say, Sydney, one of my favorite cities.
Without a
had
doubt.
such an amazing time there. Loved going.
Yeah.
People are great.
Yeah.
Town is great.
Yeah.
It reminded me of New York in some ways. Like it's like a real cosmopolitan city. Great food, great
Yeah.
people, and just I could live in Sydney. I could
Yeah.
see myself living there. I've never been to Perth. Perth is nice too. Right?
It is. It's another 5 hours away, so we're pretty insulated.
I know. We got off track. I was defending Loic here.
Oh,
a
yeah.
second.
Yes.
Excuse me.
In defense of Seismic.
Yeah.
In defense of building your business on top of somebody else's business.
However, they're integrating Facebook
Right.
and whatever else might be the forthcoming Twitter. I mean, there's an argument that Twitter's not going to be around forever. Some people would argue, or Facebook. There's always going to be the next evolution of whatever. But there will be a window for curating those conversations and using that interface to do the communicating, regardless of who that platform is.
Correct.
Yes.
So long term, maybe that's his play.
Right. So they become the facade on top of all these other businesses. If
Right.
those other businesses all have.
They're like a
APIs.
browser. In that sense, they're like Firefox as opposed
All right.
to.
That's a great business to be in. Check Netscape, how that did. Actually gets over billions of dollars, so, but whatever. I just think if you're going to pick the business to build, own your brand, own the customer relationship. I don't know. I'm an old school guy. Everybody tells me that I'm an old school guy. I don't understand this new economy, the Web 2.0 stuff. You have to build in somebody else's ecosystem. But I don't see the smart guys I know are building their own ecosystems.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Who's the guy who got everybody to paint the fence and pay him? Tom Finn or Huck Sawyer?
Tom Sawyer.
So Tom Sawyer.
Yes.
You remember the story of Tom Sawyer?
Read the book.
Yeah. So Tom Sawyer gets everybody to come, and he's like, "Hey, paint the fence. Give me an apple. Give me a penny. You can paint the fence.
Right.
It's so much fun to paint fences. That's what we're doing here. This is Tom Sawyer economics, and the people are giving their apples to Evan Williams, to Zuckerberg, to build their ecosystems, which is also known as stupid. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say my friends are stupid who are doing this.
No,
I mean,
it's-
Zynga's not stupid because they're building these games that live outside of it. But I just think
Yeah.
if you're building like this little Facebook application and but you know, if Facebook decides that they want that functionality to be core to Facebook, you know what? You're screwed. And they did that already. They just took everybody and threw them off the homepage.
You had a caller that did some Facebook applications in one of the earlier shows.
Yeah.
And he was doing quite all right out of that.
Yeah. I mean, you can make money for a while.
But it could end
The
tomorrow.
Lotus 123 people made money for a
Yeah.
long time. WordPerfect was a huge business until it wasn't. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
I hope those guys who do the profile pictures one go out of business. I hate that one.
Profile pictures?
Oh, yeah, you haven't been like where you just tag all your friends and then it's a collage of all your friends.
Oh, I
and it
hate
lets everybody
that.
know. That's the
Can
worst.
somebody...
That is the
They should
worst
ban that because-
Facebook app ever.
I get so many times, and people put it in their photo collection.
Yes, and then it alerts everybody like, hey, you've been tagged in a photo, and you think, how does this guy have a photo of me? And you click it, it's just a collage of everybody.
It is so stupid.
It's awful.
And if you have 5,000 friends, it happens that much more often,
I can imagine.
like I do. All right, next story.
Next story, the Deadpool. We have a new entry in the Deadpool this
Uh-oh.
week. The Crunch Pad.
Wah,
Oh,
wah.
Crunch Pad.
Well, Crunch Pad.
This is the
Goes-
Ace production of Alex. Oh,
Into
poor Crunch Pad.
We who are about to die salute you.
The
Torch
long-awaited.
fondue. Who wants a Crunch Pad? Where'd it go?
There's one.
Here's one.
There's one in here.
Who wants a Crunch Pad?
Even they don't want a Crunch Pad.
Who wants a Crunch Pad? No, everybody wants the Crunch Pad. That's not the issue. Who wants this?
I'd like a Crunch
Take
Pad.
it. Take it. Take it. Take it, Taurus. Take it. Take a Crunch Pad.
There we go.
Good boy. Take it. Good boy. He's got the Crunch Pad. There he goes. Look. He's eating it. Taurus is eating the crunch pad.
Is it crunchy?
It's crunchy.
It's innovative and delicious.
All right, so
The long-awaited low-cost couch computer, as they were sometimes calling it, the CrunchPad, will not be released in a blog post this week. TechCrunch's Michael Arrington explained that an unresolvable dispute with their partner in the venture, Fusion Garage, has resulted in the end of the $200 tablet PC that had been called one of the 10 most brilliant products of 2009 by Popular Mechanics. According to Arrington, Fusion Garage had floated the idea of releasing the device without involving TechCrunch, which he refers to as intellectual property theft. Any insight into what happened here, and how do you avoid scenarios like this, or is that even possible?
okay, there's a couple questions there.
Couple questions.
Number one, I had a 15, 20-minute phone call with Mike Arrington before I came on the show, on the ride over here.
On the ride here today.
Yes.
Wow.
And half of it was about TechCrunch 50.
Mm-hmm.
Half of it was about CrunchPad.
I thought there wasn't going to be any more TechCrunch.
Yeah,
50.
exactly. No, of course there's going to be another TechCrunch 50. TechCrunch 50 planning is going wonderfully. It's going to be an epic event, all this kind of great stuff. Mike feels he was wronged in this situation. From my position, knowing the facts I know, he has been wronged. He will prevail. This other party is being unreasonable. And the other party needs to realize that Mike put a lot of effort into it and give him his due. They should resolve the issue just like these other people on the phone. So now on Monday, this guy's going to show the product and try to explain his side of the story. Right. You know what he said, she said, the CrunchPad name is owned by Mike. Mike owns some percentage of the intellectual property put into the device. They own maybe more than he does in the actual hardware of the device. It's the hardware manufacturer. The bottom line is, you know, there's nothing stopping Mike from taking that CrunchPad name and working with somebody else to build it. So these guys have to realize if they don't have Mike, they're not going to have that big outreach, and they're better off together than separate.
Right.
And so cooler heads need to prevail here. I offered to step in,
sort of negotiate,
and mediate, negotiate it, but it seems like it's too far apart. I think the guy who has the issue should go to one of Mike's friends and say, here's how I screwed up with the legal thing with Mike. I shouldn't have maybe come out guns blazing. This is the problem. People come out guns blazing sometimes with the legal stuff.
Right.
They didn't have to do that. They should have just presented Mike with a viable option, and he would have been reasonable. I think Mike, maybe he's got a reputation for being unreasonable sometimes. Maybe he's got a reputation for being a strong personality. Right. But these guys just came out, you know, guns blazing legally. They should have just come out and said, hey, here's 3 options. CrunchPad is a device everybody wants. I want one. If it's $300 or $400, everybody will have one in their home.
They were saying 200 actually.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a device that people need. Somebody's going to make it, and the CrunchPad now has so much momentum that I gotta think there's 20 people calling Mike. I gotta think there's 20 people calling Mike, saying, "Let us be the hardware manufacturer that builds CrunchPad."
Right.
And we will not screw you. So I think that the person with the hardware doesn't understand that the brand is a big part of this. CrunchPad brand is going to be a big seller of it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how it became popularized. That's who's been talking about it and hyping it. I mean, it was his idea, I believe. Wasn't it?
And somebody's asking why doesn't Apple, you know, get this and whatever. I mean, Apple's not going to work with him and rebrand it. Obviously, Steve Jobs got his own thing. But if Apple builds a product, it's going to be hundreds of dollars. It's not going to be a $200 device.
They don't make $200.
It's going to be $800 device or something.
Their headphones are $200.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
No, I get my little headphones for my iPhone. It's
the earbuds?
$45 for those.
There's like 80 something.
They're 45 or something. I mean, it's crazy.
I keep having to replace mine.
I buy
the
3
one
at a
with
time.
like for the iPhone with the little
with the thing, it's
microphone.
40,
Really?
45. Yeah, I buy them a couple times. What's your thought on the CrunchPad? You watched the drama?
No, I've only watched part of it recently,
Yeah.
but certainly Mike Arrington's the sort of guy that you probably don't want to come out all guns blazing. He's the sort of guy that you definitely want to talk to at a different tone, because it would instantly get a reaction that's probably the wrong one.
Yeah.
I would say that he wouldn't shy away from a fight.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta know your audience a little bit. So it seems like they made a mistake. Anyway, it's not the end of the world. Mike's main business is doing fantastic. TechCrunch is a great brand. Mike will outlast it. These other guys, who knows who they are? You know, it's like they're nobodies in the business. So they gotta be a little bit more proper. I think they were a little out of line. And I think Mike's going to be victorious. Obviously, I'm in Mike's corner because he's my guy, he's my friend, and I feel bad for him about it. But you know, that's not the guy I would piss off.
No, the guy got a little bit of a megaphone there.
A little bit of a megaphone in the industry. I mean, really now you're gonna like I mean, and then who's going to invest in their company if?
It does seem. I mean, that's. I was wondering, like, it's a little unclear what the underlying dispute really was here, and it would have to be something pretty significant for you to create this kind of a rift, especially with how long.
There would have to be a lot riding on it, or something.
Yeah, how
There's
long
not a
this
lot
idea
riding
had been
on it.
gestating.
But probably is maybe they got some other deal. Somebody else wants to do some big deal, and maybe they got some other deal, and they want to get Mike out of the picture, so they don't have to share the deal with Mike. You know, maybe somebody offered to acquire them. I don't know. So who knows? I'm not going to get involved in it, except to say these guys are evil. Mike is good.
Right.
I'm not going to say.
Involved.
I'm not getting involved, except to say that these guys are wrong and Mike is right. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's it. You're
That's
not
it.
willing to go
These
on
guys
the
are
record?
100% dead wrong,
Okay.
and Mike is 110% right. But I have no opinion on it.
That's like the Jason Calacanis version of no comment.
It's my no comment.
Right there. You guys are totally wrong, but I have no comment.
Right. You guys are idiots. Mike is brilliant, but I have no comment. I think that's pretty standard for me.
Yeah, I think that's
Next story.
Let's talk about Life 2.0. A new documentary will debut at Sundance 2010 about people whose lives are transformed by Second Life. The movie Life 2.0 has been called an intimate, character-based drama about people who would look to a virtual world in search of something missing in their real lives. Which makes it does make it sound kind of sad. I agree. Would you ever be interested in a Second Life movie? Do you think people underestimate Second Life? You always hear Second Life is dead. There's still a lot of people in Second Life, aren't there?
Okay. Number one, if I wanted to see a bunch of people who had no lives and were living digitally, I would go to San Francisco. And I could see all of those people walking around in Starbucks and all of these guys on their laptops. I mean, listen, we have the TechCrunch 50 party.
Yes.
There's 70 beautiful girls spread out over here and 700 guys over here. And not one of the guys will go talk to the beautiful women.
To be fair, this is where the bacon wrapped scallops are, and you know.
All right, let me just say, these
are
guys
really
are
good.
uber nerds. They would rather be on their Droid phone compiling, the JavaScript for their website nobody's ever going to visit than talk to a real girl. Tyler, am I right? Back me up here.
I met my girlfriend at the TechCrunch party, so I can't really comment.
I know that was. I mean, you're basically like a shark in a tank full of guppies. I mean, it's ridiculous. Second Life has not gone anywhere. People talk about how much is getting sold in there, and there's all this money moving around.
Yeah, no, they do. They have like half $500 million is going to be exchanged in Second Life.
Virtual currency is a very real trend. Perhaps this is going on. Bill Gurley keeps telling me I'm wrong, that these guys are making like $30 million a year, $40 million a year, and they're doing great. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. I think what is the behavior in Second Life that's the reason to go there? Is it having virtual sex? Is it gambling? Or just flipping real estate?
I think it's the openness. I think it's that you have those and other.
It's my mom.
Is it really?
It's literally my mom calling during the show. Hold on.
She's angry.
There's a first.
She likes Second Life.
Hold
She's
on a
so
second.
upset.
Yeah.
Mom? Hey, Mom. I'm on the phone. I'm doing my show this week in startups right now.
Okay, call you later.
No, there's 400 people watching. Yeah, 416. Hold on a second. I'm putting speakerphone. Hold on a second. I put my mom on.
It's really like a Howard Stern.
Mom?
Right here.
Yes.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to put you by the microphone. I think I have you on speakerphone. Can you hear me, Mom?
I can hear you, but I don't want to be on speakerphone.
You're already on the show, Mom. You've already into.
Jason.
Hi, Jason's mum.
I know you're going to call me later.
Mama.
Everybody says hello. Everybody.
Everybody.
Anybody have a question for my mom? Anybody have a question for my mom?
Yeah, when was Jason toilet trained?
Yeah, when was I toilet trained? They're like, audience wants to know.
Very quickly. Probably by about 18 months, 2 years.
Hey, Mom.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah,
There you go. It's not bad.
Well done,
Pretty
Jason.
good. Pretty good.
Precocious.
Mom, the audience would like to know, did you always know that I would become a brilliant entrepreneur? And by audience, I mean me. At what point did you know?
Well, I think it was Grandma who knew it first.
Grandma knew that I'd be a brilliant entrepreneur first. How did she know that?
When you had the moxie to go up at the head of the line at the church picnic and tell the man that your grandma was waiting for clams on the half shell.
I did?
You bucked the line, and you got a whole plate of clams for Grandma. Brought him back, and Grandma said, "Boy, he's got moxie."
Interesting. So even back then, I would not wait in line.
Grandma used to tell that all the time.
Ah,
It was the St. Anselm Church picnic.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just learned something yourself.
I can
There you
see
go.
that.
I don't even remember this moment in my life. I went and so it was a.
You were only about, I don't know, 5?
So I decided I would cut a line of all these people and just take the clams.
Well, you asked for them. You didn't just take them. You got ahead of it, all these adults, and you went up to the man who was serving the clams behind the counter.
Yeah. So
And you said, "My grandma is waiting for clams."
and the guy said, "Sounds good to me."
All right.
Excellent. You know, it's interestingly enough, that's what I told the guys at AOL when I sold them Weblogs Inc. I need my clams. And they said, well, these people have been waiting online.
It's always been about the clams. That's what I'm trying to say.
I said, it's always been about the clams.
I'm trying to tell you, it's all about the clams.
Am I a great son or what?
You're the most wonderful son in the world.
There you go.
You two brothers. I have to equal time for everyone.
No, I know. I listen.
Hey, do they have their own show? I don't think so.
All right, Mom. I love you, and I can't wait for you to come out and meet your daughter. She's coming in seven
that's
days.
my granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Granddaughter. That's what I said.
Well,
Granddaughter.
we were calling to tell you that there's a package coming, number 1, and of course number 2 to see how Jade is doing. But since you're doing the show, we could talk about this later. I think.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Thank you for the package. Unnecessary.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, I love you, Mom. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
Got to take a call from my mom. Sorry, guys.
No, it's okay. Does she want to read the news?
Oh, look at Lod's all upset. You interrupted my news. It's my mom.
dare
Come
you.
on. How dare
dare
you?
your
I was
mother.
getting in a news
How
rhythm.
dare your mother?
We were
interrupt
just
my
building
news?
I was building momentum
It's,
in this
you know,
news
it's got a
cast.
flow. I write this stuff out. With a
I
flow.
like that story though.
Yeah.
I
It's a
came
good
in the
story.
game and I made my own lane.
It's all about the
I'm not
clams.
surprised. It's characteristic.
I was like, oh, there's a line?
Just like, what's going on? Why I need clams.
I need
I
clams.
need clams. What's going on? What's
I need the
holdup?
Chicago data center. Can somebody get the Mahalo Chicago data center online today? Why do we have to wait? I don't understand. It's a physical plan. I need 300 servers. Let's put it up. I need to get to 45 million uniques. 13 is not enough. It's always been very impatient.
It's one of those, like, if they made a movie out of your life, that would be the opening scene.
Yeah.
Would be like the little kid, like, hey,
I need my clams. My
Yeah.
grandma needs clams.
And then cut to.
My grandma needs her clams. You understand? Give me them clams, mister. Or I'll stock it to you. Who's going to play me in the film? Rick Schroeder?
Oh, you mean
Who's going to play the young Jason?
young Jason? Let's see. That's.
I don't know any of the young actors.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Zac Efron.
No,
He's-
I
he's
don't know
small
any
and
kid
blonde.
actors.
Yeah, I don't know the younger.
I would
set.
like to have an Adam Hanberg type Little Man Tate,
Yeah,
but
there
he's
you go.
older now.
And it's not an exact
No,
resemblance. You and
but I don't know all these young kids. Though.
Yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think.
I have Rick Schroeder play me later in life.
Rick Schroeder, Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay
I'm sure you've
Culkin
heard
later
that
in life.
before.
He's kind of. I play poker with him. He's a thing guy. though.
I could see that.
Good poker player, Macaulay Culkin, and you know what? A real sweetheart of a kid, as an adult actually. I played poker with him a couple times. Nice kid.
Yeah.
Nice adult. I shouldn't say kid.
Everybody thinks of
Nice
him
guy.
as Home Alone.
Really, a good poker player. I seen him.
Really?
He felt it a couple guys. All right, next story.
Next story.
Oh wait, Doogie Howser. That's not a bad one. Neil
I
Patrick Harris.
could see NPH. Yeah.
A little NPH.
Yeah.
I guess I got to come out of the closet at some point then.
He plays straight. Well, How Have I Met Your Mother? He plays straight.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him in.
Very believable.
I saw Neil Patrick Harris in All My Sons
Mm-hmm.
at the David Geffen Theater in Westwood. Amazing performance.
He's a good
Amazing.
actor.
Amazing actor. And in Guantanamo Bay, what's the film? Guantanamo Bay.
Harold and Kumar.
Harold
go to
Kumar, Guantanamo Bay.
yeah.
He's hysterical.
He's brilliant in those films. He's the
Oh
highlight
my
of those
God!
movies,
He's
yeah.
like going to like prostitutes and shooting guns and it's madness, and it's crazy. Anyway, moving on.
Next story.
Next story.
Bedrock is a new ad network with an unconventional approach. Publishers write their own ads and tag them with related keywords. Advertisers then bid on those keywords to place their links inside the publisher's ad. For example, let's say you have a movie blog. You could write an ad, buy cheap DVDs here, and then DVD sellers would bid on who gets to put their link at that location.
That's brilliant. I've always said this because I know when I was publishing, like Engadget and Autoblog and all this stuff, it was like, why? are the advertisers coming up with such bad ad copy?
Right.
Why don't you let me do the ad copy?
I mean, how many times have we said this on Mahalo?
Right.
We're looking at a page and it's like, these ads are terrible. We know what the keywords are that are driving
Yes.
people to this page.
This is
We're
a brilliant
the
idea.
writers.
What is the name of this company?
Bedrock.
Bedrock. It's a terrible name.
Bedrock. Bedrock. I don't know if it's bedrock.com. Oh, no, it is. That's it.
They got the name Bedrock. That's a pretty good name, I guess. It's, okay, a monetization platform for building the next generation ad products. Publisher Bedrock. I got it.
Was the guy that running it called Fred?
Hey-o.
That'd be brilliant if it was.
Sellers, API. This is a really good idea.
Yeah, I thought the one downside people were talking about that sort of resonated with me is it could be a lot of room for potential abuse from the publisher side. Like, you could go through a post, you could just tag every keyword in your post as a different sort of ad. It'd be really hard for them to monitor, like, our publishers being responsible. But if they can figure that out,
Oh, look, I
a
know
good idea.
Mark's sister, who was on the program, Howard Morgan, a friend of mine, and Mike Jones, a friend of mine, and the advisory board has David Sachs on it,
yeah.
who was on the program, was a friend of mine. All these people we know. This is an interesting idea.
Mark was in episode 25.
Yeah.
It's the guys who do Gum Gum, which is another one of
Amazing.
Mark's.
Oh, is it the Gum Gum guys?
Yeah.
Oh, I know the Gum Gum guys. Gum Gum was the guys who were doing the video.
Ofer and
yeah, they actually they had invented this to go along with Gum Gum, and then they just were like, hey, this is a great idea, we should open it up.
Gotcha. This is a smart idea. I'm going to give these guys a lot of credit. This is an idea I've been waiting for. I like it a lot. What do you think of this idea?
Yeah, it's definitely a good idea. It's from an advertising point of view. It sort of reminds me of sometimes when you look at the AdSense ads and you go through Google to buy keywords, and then you can particularly go and hit a site that has an AdSense space in it and actually buy that ad instead.
Right.
So it's far more targeted in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously,
great.
if
I mean,
Mark's
also
behind it.
If you're the publisher, you understand your users, you understand the context, you understand what's going to work more than the person buying the ad, more than an algorithm will. I mean, this is like curated ads. It's a really smart idea. It's a really smart idea. I give these guys a lot of credit. Good for them. We like it.
Yeah,
Next story.
I thought it was a good idea. Square. Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey has a new company called Square.
Yes.
Turns your iPhone into a credit card payment system.
Brilliant.
So the app actually has a magnetic credit card reader. It plugs into the audio jack. You can swipe people's credit cards into the phone. They sign their signature by actually writing with their finger on the device, and then you get a receipt. It can be sent SMS. You can get it via email.
Sure.
They've even hinted that the app may begin to integrate Foursquare-like features, so you keep track of frequent customers. You
Sure.
almost have like a mayor of your store.
Yep.
The company has raised $10 million in funding thus far. Estimated worth already $40 million. Is this Silicon Valley hype? Why the feeding frenzy? Would you invest in this? Is it a good idea?
Okay, couple things. I tried to invest in this,
Wow.
and I wasn't able to. This is the hottest deal of the year. Why? Jack was the guy who came up with the idea for Twitter. He was the CEO of Twitter for a while, and he's a friend of mine. But, you know, in terms of investing, he's got to do what's right for him, and there wasn't enough room in the round for me, so be it. I tried. As a matter of fact, I sent them a note just like 2 days ago, like, hey, if you happen to have, you know, a 25K slot, you slot me in, you know, no pressure, but pressure, you know. But it's a brilliant idea, and it works. And he's been showing it to people for 6 months. It was a massive competition for the deal. It got a very high valuation. But truth be told, Mahalo had a much higher valuation before we launched. So it's not impressive on it's not unprecedented or wildly impressive on a historical basis for that valuation or unheard of. It is very impressive for this moment in time to get that valuation.
Right.
So at this moment in time, for a product that has not launched, to launch with that valuation is wildly impressive, and it's a great product, and he's going to be very successful with it. And now, if this works, and he gets a CEO for this is what I told him in a private email, not private anymore, was if you get this successful and you put a CEO in place, because I mean, I don't know that he's the guy who wants to be the CEO in year 3.
Right.
You know, he might want somebody who's just, then he will become the idea guy. He'll become like the Midas touch. Like, I start the company, I come up with a great idea, visionary guy, somebody else takes it over from there. I think you should get a great CEO in place and move on to the next idea. It's a brilliant idea. Have you seen this demo?
Haven't seen it. How much the valuation is it because it's Jack?
Okay, average A round is probably 10 million, let's say, post. So he got 4 times that.
Yes, 40.
So why is it 4 times? I would say he's half of it, and the idea is the other half.
Okay.
So if this idea with another entrepreneur, maybe it gets 25, which means 15 million's him, 15 million's the idea. The merit of this idea above and beyond a normal Silicon Valley idea. And that does happen. You will see a first round go for 20 million once in a while if it's a really great idea. But a lot of it's him.
We got dogs messing with it.
Dogs messing with the curtains back there. It's okay.
All right.
I'm very happy for him. That's not one of the 2 companies.
That's not?
I wish it was. But even at that valuation, I don't know, maybe it's a little high for me. But congratulations to him. It will be very big.
Yeah, I saw the video. It's pretty amazing.
What's really interesting about it is, like, let's say we were running an event here at Mahalo, and we say, we're going to have an event, it's going to be $20 to come in.
Yeah.
You come in, boom, you just do it right here. Or like, let's say you have a fundraiser at your house for Obama.
Right.
Or a fundraiser to get Obama out of office because he didn't do the 2 things you wanted him to do in office.
He didn't.
He didn't. And you just swipe the $20 for McCain, and boom, then you give the money to McCain. So it's really PayPal. I mean, it's not a
PayPal
merch account.
at hand.
It's PayPal in your hand.
Yeah.
And it's patented, I think. And
Yeah,
it's
and
IP.
they're showing the receipts what they look like online now, and it's cool. It's got like the all the basic information plus like a map that shows you where it was and all sorts of other
this will get rid of fraud.
info about the place.
This company's gonna get taken out for $300 million by American Express or Visa within.
Yeah.
3
Well, that's
years.
another cool thing that they were showing off that's coming is you could swipe somebody's credit card, it'll bring up their picture, be like, is this the person you're looking at? So it's instant identity verification, so nobody can steal your identity.
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on. Apple to buy Lala. This is breaking news. This is going on right now. Apple is apparently in advanced negotiations to buy online music service Lala, which is privately held. On Lala, users can listen to any song once for free, and then they can buy the stream for 10 cents. Currently, there's access in Lala to 8 million songs, and News Corp has just purchased similar companies, iLike and iMeme. Is this paving the way for an Apple subscription service?
Apparently, yes. And I got to tell you, I have the Sonos system at home.
Yes.
Which I love. And on the Sonos system, I have Rhapsody. And it was a 30-day trial. And I just signed up for Rhapsody for $12 a month. I will never buy a CD again. I am done. Period.
Yeah.
And then I also signed up for Napster, which is $6 a month. So for a combined, call it $20 a month, I have access to every single song ever made. Last night, I was laying in bed, trying to relax, and I typed in "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd. It had 100 different songs called "Wish You Were Here," 2/3 of which were covers of the song. And I'm listening to Wyclef, whatever this guy's Wyclef.
Wyclef Jean.
Wyclef Jean sing a version of "Wish You Were Here" that I'd never heard of. That was brilliant. I would never buy it. I would never know that it was there. Clearly, this is what people need. And Napster lets you take like 60 of your songs a year and save them.
Yeah.
Rhapsody doesn't, so you get to keep some of them as MP3s. And then I was looking online. There's all these secondary software, pieces of software you can buy that will rip whatever you're streaming on your computer. Not that I would do this, but there are people who would. You could just basically put these. This has been around for a long time. With, spinner radio, whatever. So I just think it's like the fact that Apple doesn't have it right now and Zune does and Napster and all that stuff, it's inevitable. The only problem I have is if I'm in a car or on an airplane, but now with Wi-Fi on airplane, and why don't I have Wi-Fi in my car? At some point I'm going to. My new Tesla Model S comes with a Tesla Model S.
Does it really have
Oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this.
Yeah.
No, it's public knowledge.
Talk about breaking news.
Tesla Model S has a...
That it has a WAN connection?
That has a WAN connection?
Yeah, that's published.
Oh, it's published. Okay. I didn't know. I had dinner with Alon last night and talked about all kinds of stuff. I don't know what's published or not. Anyway, he's going to have a like an EVDO card built into the car.
Wow.
So I could be streaming my Rhapsody in the car.
Yeah.
You know, it's game over. It's game over for buying songs. It's all subscription. And for $20 a month, $240 a year, I get the all-time music. What kid's not going to take that? It's the price of one album.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to go. And helps eliminate piracy as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, when you just pay a flat amount, you get access to everything.
Yeah, happy
Everybody would
about
take
that.
Well, now what's going to happen is people are going to they're going to be ripping this stuff off of their Rhapsody accounts, and I'm going to have one Rhapsody account, be sharing it, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's going to be all kinds of other stuff going on. But if you make it easy, people are not going to steal. And the people who do steal are people who can't afford it to begin with. So you let people who are poor or can't afford it, who are young and don't have the budget to steal, because then when they do have money, they will pay.
Yeah.
Like piracy, if poor people pirate stuff, it's okay, because all you're doing is training them for when they do have money. So if people in China have been pirating our movies for 20 years, you know what? They're becoming a middle class there, and now they're selling DVDs over there for $2 compared to $1, or $3 compared to $1 you get for the pirate one. But people are actually buying the $3 non-pirated one to get the extras and to get all the good stuff and know it's not a broken disc.
Yeah, once the people have a little bit of money, it's even just like a status thing. You don't want to go over to somebody's place and watch the bootleg crummy copy. You want to
I checked out the
nice,
bootleg
pristine.
stuff. When you buy the bootleg stuff in Shenzhen, this is like 2 or 3 years ago I was there, 3 years ago I was there, you have to like go to the back counter, and then they pull you in by a curtain, and then they take the stuff out, and you got to go through it. It's not organized, but if you buy the real stuff, it's all organized very nice.
Sometimes it's the wrong movie, right?
I bought like a stack of them just to see, and it was like I wound up throwing them all away because it's all garbage.
It's not a good experience.
It's a terrible experience.
Wonder what Spotify thinks of this transaction.
Spotify, yeah. I mean, well, you got to think that if this is going on right now, and this is a breaking news story. It's here on the top of Tech Meme. Very good. Well done. You got a breaking story during the show. I think they must have talked to multiple people. And Rhapsody was obviously not for sale. It's a real network. It's a publicly traded company. They don't need to sell. Napster. I wanted to buy Napster. Anyway, whatever. For some reason, they're buying Lala. They like Lala. Lala's site looks like it's down. No, it's working. Lala doesn't look like a very impressive site either. Kind of like,
I think it's the catalog. They have 8 million songs from all the major labels.
Yeah, then it's like Rhapsody.
Yeah.
So that's what Rhapsody says. So good for them. Congratulations. I think it's great. And this is actually what really is a big deal about this is Apple has so much cash now. I don't. Somebody can look it up and tell me in the chat room, but I believe that Apple now has $40 billion. $40 billion. $40 million. They've got $40 million.
Unbelievable.
They can buy half of Steve Jobs' jet.
They can buy Square.
They can buy Foursquare.
No,
they can buy Square. Just Square. No, I think they have $40 billion. Somebody check that and put it in the chat room. But
hey, what is with all the Square names? There's like 3 or 4.
I don't know.
It's weird.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, and they don't know how to put it to use. I think somebody's going to correct me if I'm wrong now or not, but I think that Google has got 20 billion. And Microsoft has 40 billion. Cisco has 30 billion. These tech companies have so many tens of billions of dollars. They don't know what to do with it. And if Apple is shooting the gun on, we're going to start buying web-based stuff, I am a very happy man because that is a good day for entrepreneurs because they have, here to date, not wanted any web-based services except for mobile things they made at home. If Apple starts buying stuff and starts competing with Google and Yahoo, that's really what Apple should. Now that I'm thinking about it, Apple really should be. Apple should have a search engine. Absolutely should have a search engine. Well, I mean, if Google's going to take their business and the phone business to Android, Apple's response should. This is going to be another one of these clips that they're going to wind up cutting. Yeah, but Apple. I'm telling you right now, Apple will have a search engine within 3 years, guaranteed. Apple will have its own search engine within 3 years, and also Facebook is going to have one. Both of those guys, because that's where the money is. And if Apple is facing a threat from Google, and Apple was supposedly going to buy AdMob, that was the reason why Google did the power buy for so much money on it. You know, it's pretty clear what's going on here. Apple should get into the web business. They should compete with Gmail. Why not? When you open your iPhone, you put in your Gmail credentials.
Yeah, that's true.
And the whole selling point of Droid is that you put in your Gmail credentials and it works. Well, what if Apple had that service and when you put on your iTunes, if your iTunes was connected to your Apple email?
Well, they did have that .Mac stuff.
I'm talking about a whole real web thing. Yeah.
iTunes is so painful when you transfer a PC.
Oh yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
We've got Alex has the figures. Apple 34 billion, Google 22 billion, Microsoft 36.7 billion.
I was in the right range. I mean, it changes every quarter. These guys. I mean, Google throws off, I think, almost $2 billion in profit a quarter. Apple's throwing off $3 or $4 billion a quarter in profit. Microsoft the same thing. So that's nuts. Okay, and actually that $100 billion would pay for the first 3 days of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars.
Cool.
No.
Get that squared away.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Okay, let's talk movieclips.com. They've launched in beta mode. The site collects thousands of 2-minute streaming clips from major studio films, Fistful of Dollars, Casablanca, Do the Right Thing. You can find clips by searching for movies or actors, or you can look up scenes by keyword like attack or funny. The revenue model will involve affiliate partnerships, so if you're watching like a clip from Stripes, you can get an ad asking if you want to buy the movie or download the movie. Very similar conceptually to TechCrunch 50 company AnyClip. But without the relationships, this is related. They have deals with all the studios set up. AnyClip was still sort of working on that.
Yeah.
And so is this just a fun gimmick? Is there a real business here?
There's a site called Mr. Skin, which you may have heard of on Howard Stern.
No. What does it do?
It was the subject of also the film Knocked Up.
Knocked Up, right. They're creating their own
version of it, and they find out Mr. Skin exists. So Mr. Skin, I think, got bought, or maybe it's still independent, I don't know. But anyway, they show the parts of films where people are naked.
Yes.
And they index it. It's like the Wikipedia of naked film clips. And everybody's like, how do they let them do that? What is the story? And I think what happened with that is the studios turned a blind eye to the low-resolution versions that he sells by subscription to a small number of people because they move a lot of DVDs and higher resolution versions.
Right.
So people are okay with him doing that if they. So
it's basically advertising for the studio film.
That's
what
correct.
He's doing.
Yes, and so you're going to buy that film that has whatever
if you
on
really
Blu-ray.
want to know, what movie Kim Basinger.
So that's I think what's probably happening here is that they probably think they're going to sell more movies, and with digital distribution of movies, you know, I mean, they give clips away in the trailer, so and people.
Yeah, this is only it's 2-minute clips of like the best stuff people want to grab.
Yeah, I got it pulled up here on the screen. You can pull out my screen here, and it's like, yeah, here's a little clip from, you know, Napoleon Dynamite. Here's something from Office Space. Here's something from Child's Play, the first person who gets killed. The Land Before Time, Fast and Furious. I mean, they want to sell DVDs here. And what they're trying to do is get people excited about films that are in their catalogs. I mean, you're not seeing Twilight in here, are you?
No, it's it's like deep indexed.
This
films,
is deep stuff. I mean, they're trying to pimp Moonstruck here. I mean, so if I don't even remember the film Moonstruck existed.
Oh, Cher, Nicolas Cage.
I know. My point is, I didn't remember Moonstruck was even you know a film. You know, Parenthood. I mean, these are films that people are just not even going to remember. So it's a smart idea. Well, I think it's probably crashing because of 400 people at once.
Couldn't YouTube and Hulu, I mean, couldn't they pick this up and do it? I mean, they are practically doing it. There's a lot of clips from movies on Hulu.
Yeah, I mean, they have the full thing. I mean, what's going to eventually happen is these are going to link to people. This will just link to the actual, and they already have it here, link it to buy it, but it will. This is a digital download precursor. So right now you see you can share it and you can hype it and favorite it, and they have buy movie, but I bet you, well, actually you can buy it on Amazon, and I wonder if that's Amazon digital download or regular. It's regular. So they're moving DVDs right now. You know, Hollywood's desperate to move DVDs because the DVD business is crashing, and this is just a way for them to try to get people to buy DVDs.
Yes,
simple as that.
We got an insight from Alex here in the other room. He's saying it's not about the clips, it's about the search, that the keywords and relationships, but that's something Hulu could, if this company can do it, Hulu could do it.
Yeah.
They could have some more semantic.
But that was what AnyClip's point was. You could type in, and I know this because when we prepared, Tyler and I did the rehearsals with AnyClip, we were like, type in Mustang. And we thought we would see all these cars that were Mustangs, and we saw some Mustang cars. We also saw Mustang horses, and we saw Mustang, the name of a bar, and we're
Mustang Sally.
Yeah, exactly. Then we typed in orange, and it was like, here's oranges, here's an orange shirt, here's an orange this. And I was like, those are the kind of interesting searches that, you know, are not like literal, that will make the service interesting. So yes, Alex has a good insight, even though he doesn't have a jingle.
No, there's no insights from Alex jingle.
No piracy in Australia. People pay.
Yeah, I think it's, as far as Australia's concerned, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
People are good people in Australia.
That's
stealing.
It's controlled pretty well as well.
I mean, if you're doing piracy, you go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty tight legal system over there. There's no nonsense.
Microsoft encouraged piracy for quite a few years.
Oh, really?
Without saying it.
They just turned a
No,
blind
and
eye.
there was no, yeah, so back in probably the same time that you were installing systems, you know, how many businesses did you go to and there was like pirated software,
Well, they would have
Microsoft
no-
products everywhere.
They were one of the first companies to say we're not going to put copyright protection
Yeah,
on these
exactly.
things. Sorry, not my mom.
Yeah.
I have to leave the phone on because my wife is pregnant and this
Yep.
is the week. So sorry, guys.
Yeah, so that sort of helped them, you know, got to that situation where
Yeah.
when these companies could
Yeah,
afford
now-
it, they started buying the software. So.
That's how they.
But of course now you have to because the licensing aspect of it is.
Yeah, they're
very
making it more
different.
difficult, but the prices are lower.
Yes.
And they used to also have the educational discount, which is a way of sort of like, you can buy the I mean, Apple still does this. You can buy the educational license to
Yeah,
this
the
for
student
for the. I mean, everybody's a student. They don't check your ID when you buy that stuff, right, Lon?
No, I still.
That's-
I haven't got my student ID for when I go to the movies.
Do you really?
No.
Oh,
Don't look anything like my old student ID anymore.
God, that neck is hurting, huh?
It really is. It really hurt. Yesterday I was totally immobilized. Today at least I
Is
can
it stress
sorta-
related or what is the story?
I have no idea. I think I might have pinched a nerve or pulled
Oh.
a muscle or something when I was
Ow.
sleeping. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot better today, so you can imagine how bad I was yesterday.
Brutal. Keep going.
It was unpleasant.
Last one.
Last one. We'll do Bing Maps. Microsoft has launched a competitor for Google Maps called, fittingly enough, Bing Maps.
Hey.
It includes a lot of Google Maps-esque functionality, including Street Side, which is Google Street View, but smoother because they're actually making a 3D map of a neighborhood rather than still photos. So it's more like taking a tour rather than the sort of jerky Google Street View. Also some small improvements to the design. If you're looking at a neighborhood that has a lot of different points of interest, it'll collect them all together. So you can click one pin and it'll be, here's everything cool on this block.
Yep.
Also a built-in map apps directory that will let you overlay specialized content, so you can see like local newspapers
Yeah.
in that area or
Yeah,
something.
I like it.
Should Google be worried about losing ground? And is it a mistake to base this all on Microsoft's Silverlight, which is what they're doing?
No problem to use Silverlight. Silverlight will be on almost everything, and it's just like Flash, so I think people will
Well,
download it.
Linux, that's the key, is that they want developers to use it for the map apps
Uh-huh.
thing, and developers are on Linux, which is not friendly with Silverlight.
It will be. Give them time. Microsoft's smart. What you're seeing here is extreme competence by Microsoft, and people generally make fun of and underestimate Microsoft, which is really means they have very little historical knowledge of Microsoft as an organization. There's a lot of smart people who work there who do not stop. They're relentless, and they're usually their 1.0 product sucks. 2.0 product is okay. 3.0 is good. 4.0 is amazing. 5.0, is volcanic. And Google, I think, is got their work cut out for them. Google underestimates Microsoft. Microsoft is focused. They're overspending, and they're going to take risk. So they're going to keep adding features, and I think Google's in trouble. They may not think they are, but this is a level of focus I have not seen at Microsoft. I mean, the Xbox maybe was like a level of focus and execution. I mean, I got an Xbox 2 weeks ago for Call of Duty, and I played maybe 3 hours on it. I have to say the Xbox experience feels more like an Apple product than a Microsoft product.
Yeah.
You've used it. You
The
have
Xbox?
an Xbox?
I
Yeah.
have an Xbox 360.
Have you used the Xbox?
No.
I love it.
Have you used an Xbox, Tyler?
No.
It feels like.
We.
Was that Tyler yawning on his Tyler?
That was
Yeah.
Tyler yawn? I'm sorry we're boring you here, Tyler.
Exhaustion.
Tyler's just like,
Tyler.
But anyway, the Xbox feels like a Microsoft product. It's stable. It doesn't
Yeah.
crash. It's
Seamless.
seamless.
very-
It's fast. You
It's really
pause
well
it, you go back.
designed,
It's
pretty.
beautiful.
interface,
I mean,
yeah.
they are getting there.
And actually, my old roommate had a PlayStation 3, which was very clunky, crashed a lot, froze a lot, a lot of problems. And the PlayStation PS3 home experience is not like
Somebody's
Xbox
laughing out
Live.
loud. It doesn't crash. I guess I know. I haven't got the red eye death, and I got the most recent. Most powerful?
I've had an Xbox for several years now. I've never had a
It's a heat
red
thing.
ring of death.
The thing does sound like it's taking off.
If you take it, if you put it, I think on like carpet or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if it's overheated. I think
Yeah.
that's something people are doing.
No, I got mine professionally
Mine-
set up.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem.
But it is loud.
It's very loud,
It literally sounds like a helicopter is taking off.
like a jet engine.
It is
yeah.
like a jet engine with this thing. And like I left it on because I was like pause the game, and then like I was trying to watch TV, and I'm like, this thing has to be turned off.
You have
No.
to turn it off when you're not using it for sure.
Yeah, well, shouldn't it sleep? No sleep function?
It'd be a good idea.
You think?
You would think.
I mean, let the thing sleep. Anyway, I can't believe we got 434 people watching the show still.
Nice.
Unbelievable. We're almost 2 hours here. Okay, one more news story.
Homo, this is actually my last one. So
Good.
that's good timing. A lot of people online are talking about this Droid versus iPhone pretty ad. I don't know if you've seen it. This was just going on, so I didn't have time to load it up here. It's a ad for the Verizon Droid, and they're basically making fun of iPhone users, like their phone. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, who cares about having a phone that's cute and pretty? We have a phone that's really like functional.
Yeah.
And they're trying to do that kind of Karl Rove, like turn the strength into a weakness.
Yeah, sure.
So Apple, it's this really sleek design.
It's like the George Bush thing, like, I don't know the fancy words,
Right.
but I know what's right.
And it's like, oh, aren't you precious? And it's all like, young girls using their iPhone.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I watching it, it sort of feels like they're highlighting the clunkiness of their own design a little bit. I'm not sure how the execution
It's sort of
was.
like the under $1,000 buying the computer Windows thing. Like,
yes, right.
It's
Where it's like they're trying just a little too hard.
I think they should stop worrying about comparing themselves to Apple and start doing their virtues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like,
that's what I felt
This is what's
seeing.
great about Droid. This is what's great about Windows. Stop. What happens is Steve Jobs is such a great competitor, and those Mac versus PC ads are so biting and harsh that he's got everybody on tilt. That's why I would never play poker with that guy. Even if it was his first, if it was Steve Jobs' first time at a poker table, didn't know what the best starting hands were, whatever, I still would not play poker with that guy because he would win. I mean, he's a winner, and he gets inside people's heads, and he gets them on tilt. They're obsessing about it. Forget about the iPhone. Think about yourself. Talk about how many hours your phone lasts for. Talk about the screen resolution. Talk about the applications that are available. You should be thinking about the virtues of your product. I don't pitch Mahalo as, here's Google, what's wrong with it, here's Mahalo, what's good with it. I say, hey, here's what Mahalo does really well. Go to the homepage. You see a lot of the breaking stories are, and you'll understand what the memes of the moment are, and you can ask a question, and you get an answer, and if you're into building pages, you get a revenue share. I mean, nowhere in there do I say Google does not provide a revenue share for people building pages or whatever,
Right.
Actually, they do in Knoll, but nobody knows what it is.
So that's effectively promoting the phone to those people that do want that sort of a phone at the expense.
I think it's a little bit of
That's a good point.
Like we were talking out there. It's a little bit of like the the really like thick, heavy beer, and like that's for real.
Yeah,
Like if you want a frou light beer, cocktail,
You like a fruity phone.
right? Where they're almost like selling it on. It's a little harsh. It's a little rough around the edges and. But it's more powerful. I think that's their case. That like,
Right.
this other one is like a silly toy, and ours is a real.
If they wanted to
machine.
do power, what they should do is they should show, because I have a Droid phone, and I've been using the Droid phone, and I have a BlackBerry as my primary. Then I had an iPhone for secondary. Now I got the Droid, so I'm carrying all three phones with me to try to see which ones I use more frequently. I use BlackBerry the most because of email, but I use iPhone and the Droid for other things, like Foursquare, Twitter, etc. I find that web surfing better on Droid, much better. Faster, more stable, better resolution, just easier than an iPhone. Email, better on a Droid, got a keyboard.
Right.
Foursquare and Twitter, I like better on my Droid. That I just described is 95% of what I use the
so
phone
what do you
for.
like the iPhone for?
Well, iPhone, there's some specific applications that are not yet available.
That's it.
Like I have an iPhone application that lets me see the security cameras in my house.
Right. Yes.
And that's not available over there. So I can like stream my security camera and see what's going on in my backyard or the front door, in the gun range, whatever,
in the gun range.
the gym.
There's a size difference between the phones too. That
Yeah. The BlackBerry Curve is tiny. I mean, you can basically fit it in my hand. The other ones you couldn't palm like this. They're bigger than your palm. Yeah. The Droid is heavy and clunky. It feels like it's got a little bricky kind of feel to it.
Yeah, which is, I think, that's sort of, I guess, what they're reacting to in this ad, is that people are noticing that our phone isn't pretty like the iPhone.
I think it's more powerful, and when you switch between the applications and you launch applications and you do email and you surf the web, you're like, this is snappier. And so they are, for the Droid is a 1.0 product and the iPhone is a 3.0 product. Steve Jobs made fun of it. He should be worried. Talk about another guy who's overplaying his hand. He is overplaying his hand. He thinks that Droid is a joke. It is not a joke. It's for real. I can load I loaded the Foursquare application directly by going to the Foursquare site.
Oh wow.
You don't have to go to the App Store.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
You know, you go to Foursquare, you get the most recent one. The one that guy updated that day is on my phone that day. There's no 30-day window. That's going to be his Achilles heel. He thinks that he's got this locked up like the iPhone, like the iPod. He doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't control 98% of 85 or 90% of the market like he does with
No, not with
iPod.
cell phones.
So he better reevaluate the strength of his hand relative to the other players in the market and start thinking about whether he wants to, you know, open himself up, because he's going to get blindsided, I think. I don't know. You have iPhone now in Australia.
Yes, yeah,
For
we
a
do.
while.
I mean, I use an iPhone,
Yeah.
but
And you can use any
I'd like to
service.
try the Google phone, definitely.
You can use any service.
Yes, they're unlocked.
They're unlocked. You cannot lock it legally. There's no when you buy phones in Australia, they're
You
not.
can buy a plan
can.
which is locked to a carrier for a certain period of time, but it's a
If you want
it's
the
a soft
discount.
lock.
It's a
They
soft
can
lock.
they can remove it. Yeah.
Right. But you're not allowed to offer phones down there exclusively.
No, not like it is over here.
Yeah.
So effectively, all the phones that you buy, you should be able to then take and put any other SIM card in it and use it, even if you have to pay something to unlock it.
So an iPhone
Legally.
has a SIM card you can remove in.
Yeah, that's what I was just
Yeah.
thinking. How does that even work?
Oh, ours has
Yeah,
that too, though.
yeah.
It's at the top. You can push a pin in it. Or
That's
something.
really?
it. That's
Yeah,
how-
you just would never know because you'd never have the chance to take it out of an iPhone here in the United States. But you can take your your
One pin.
one pin. You take a little
Yeah.
pin. You go there, but you wouldn't know because they basically hide it on the iPhone.
Yeah, I've never.
You would think it's built in, but
Yeah, well, I've done that every time I've travelled. Just
so you
change-
take it out when you travel. You
Yeah.
get a temporary one for here and
Yeah, exactly.
for data, so you don't get
Yeah.
just destroyed on the charges.
That's it.
Yeah,
And the same in the UK.
same in the UK. Ugh.
Although they are locked down in the UK, I believe.
I think in Europe they can't lock them because of the EU, but
N-
Europe is not in. England
it's
is not
slightly
in-
different to the UK.
UK is not in the EU, right?
UK's in the EU.
Oh, they're in the EU.
It-
They don't use the. They're half in.
Yeah.
They don't use the currency.
Right.
They're not fully in.
They're not fully in.
They're hedging their bets.
Much to people's
But-
chagrin, they do not use the euro.
But they do have a big influence
Right.
over it.
They maintain their own currency.
They're still
Yeah.
they're still on
pound sterling.
yeah.
That's interesting. Why are they? I guess they like their money.
Yeah, I don't know. National pride or something. I'm not sure.
I guess so. All right.
We've got some news.
Oh, what's the news?
No.
We're launching a new product.
Oh, that's right. Look at this. WebSpy has a Soho product.
Yeah.
What is this?
It's a dashboard for use at home
Ah.
and small business. We're registering interest for it at the moment. In actual fact, there's a competition. If you go to webspy.com/Soho,
Soho is small office, home office for people who
Correct.
don't know. SOHO.
then there's a competition which we use 99 Design for.
Oh, really?
For the logo.
Cool.
So you can vote on which logo you prefer,
Awesome.
and you can register if you're interested in the product. And I think based on the fact that there's about 400 viewers,
Yeah.
I think we'll give the first 500 versions of it away for free.
Oh, wow. So everybody in the chat room gets a free copy.
Absolutely.
Pretty good if they go
Nice.
quickly.
It's like Oprah.
Like Oprah.
Reach under your seats.
And a Tesla.
And but it was due to be launched in December, probably back to about January at this point in time.
Okay.
So
And the idea is if I'm running under 15 computers, I can see what everybody on my network is doing,
not so much the details of what they're doing, but how much of what they're doing.
how much of what they're doing.
So if you've got a problem with your network at home and you want to find out where that problem's coming from,
Got it.
you can find the PC
So this is
very
like,
quickly.
This is when I was doing IT, you was like a sniffer. You
Yeah,
paid $20,000 for a sniffer
Yeah.
to have this like device that would read what's going on in the network and tell
it's-
you.
Because at the moment, it was a pain point for me, like I was explaining to you before the show, that the network was really slow at home and wanted to find out where the slowness was.
Right.
And I couldn't without going to each PC. There was 7 PCs.
Huh.
So this will tell you what the teenagers are consuming in the bandwidth. So not what they're downloading or
Right.
what
So
they're
you don't
looking
have
at.
to invade their privacy, but
No.
you do know of your 7 computers,
Yeah.
these 2 are doing BitTorrent and taking up 20% each.
So if you're trying to do some work and the kids are totally
Yeah.
hammering the bandwidth for you, you know.
Yeah, you know.
You know, say, come on, stop that now. But no, and the other thing it'll do is it'll tell you when somebody's coming onto your network that is an unknown device.
So if somebody's
Because
sneaky.
Exactly. And a lot of people are, unaware as to how many devices actually come onto the Wi-Fi network. Because as soon as you have 2 or 3 people with iPhones or something, their devices on the network that come on, and just extra bandwidth gets consumed on it.
This is a really good idea for people who are sharing a connection
Yeah.
and maxing it out. And also, if people are hijacking your computer, I mean, that's another
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have unexpected, like, wow, my network is really slow. Why?
Why? Yeah.
And then you find out, oh, one of your
Yeah.
computers has been slaved, you know.
And of course, you won't know it because you won't be able to find it out from the
Yeah.
PC. So in other words, the only way you'll know it is what traffic's coming from that PC.
Right.
And you can match that against the activities. In other words, if you're not touching that PC
Right.
and all this activity is coming out of it, well, guess what?
Something's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it could be you have a backup system running or something. Like I had that problem. I was leaving my Mosey on, on max setting, and it was just in the middle of the day. My wife was complaining about this home computers being slow, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'll put Mosey on to go off between 2 and 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this would have let her know why. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was like she kept complaining for like a month.
So it's a very simple application. The one version or the one license version is going to be free. The other one will probably sell between $20 and $40, and
Wow.
certainly the people
Where
that
does,
do
it,
sign
where
up,
does the software run on? It runs.
it'll run on the PC individually, and it'll talk to the other PCs on the network.
So you have to put like a little client on each
it-
one?
unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's the only way.
That's the
they're
only way to
gonna
do it, right? But that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But anyway, so it's not going to log anything.
Cool product.
It's just purely going to.
It's also good
talk
if you have a
about that.
small, like you're saying, a small office.
Yes.
And you have a DSL connection. You just want to know what the heck's going on in your office. You can sort of figure out what's going on with the computers.
Yeah.
And avoid problems.
Well, in a small office, you can probably see the other computers. So really, if you have that dashboard saying, well, that computer there is currently doing
Early
something.
on, we had a few people who would be watching
Yeah.
Hulu.
Watching Hulu, I know. That was an interesting moment. Should you really be watching
They were-
TV
I was
while you're
amazed.
working?
People were working on pages and watching Hulu in the background.
I don't get that.
I didn't get it either. But this would, we would have known.
Anyway,
Why are we streaming
Oh.
video?
this has been a great episode.
The
Let me-
longest ever,
Oh dear.
Oh wow, officially.
according to
No,
Alex.
it's not.
Officially, that's what Alex is saying.
How long have we been on for?
240.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, you started at like 120. It's now 4.
Has it really been that long?
Sorry, Alex. I promised you to try and keep it short.
Jesus, what is going on with the show? And you know what the crazy thing is? We're still maintaining large groups of people watching the show, even though we go later and later and later. It never ends. All right, let me thank Ustream for sponsoring the show, DNAML, WebSpy, and Power VPS. Everybody, make sure you thank our sponsors. That is your obligation, is your Geary, your moral obligation to do so. Since you do not get charged for the show, you should be thanking the sponsors. And the way you do that is you open your Twitter account and you say, thank you at Ustream, thank you at WebSpy, thank you at DNAML, and thank you at Power VPS.
Very much appreciated.
Thanks for being on, Jack. Good job.
And thanks for everybody that does retweet that. It's very noticeable.
Yeah, see, I mean, it's good. We have actually somebody who is a sponsor and says that has a big impact. Oh, and here's something interesting.
Oh, I love this. This is
This
fantastic.
came from one of our insane super fans. It is a shirt, and it says, "Dude, get off the bitch train." And that's a G and a J on the shirt. So, and it's a round table. That's Gary and Jason. It's the Gary and Jason shirt. If you'd like that shirt, you can email Tyler at mahalo.com for a shirt. Just no, don't email Tyler. Go to, what is it?
Bitchtrain.com.
Bitchtrain.com. Okay. So this is becoming now a meme. Bitch train.
It's been a meme for a little while.
Well, for a couple of weeks, but I'm just saying that the fact that there's a bitch train. There's a bitch train.
Oh, it's got a redesign. The site has a redesign.
Yeah. Well, here it is. This is what's on the shirt. Dude, get off.
Like he's got a glass of wine.
He's drinking his wine,
He's
and we're
not
having like
drinking wine on Twist. I would
Yes,
know.
of course he is. Get off the bitch train and just pick one, dude. That's so funny. And of course, next week we have a special episode. Yes. 4:30 p.m., a later start. And we will be having a meetup, a Twist meetup here in Los Angeles. You can come to the office and you can hang out. And George, the CEO of DNA Mail, will be here, and we're having a party. It's a meetup. It's a Twist meetup.
It's a tweet up, if
It's
you
a
will.
tweet up. If you go to twistmeetup2.eventbrite.com, you can get a ticket. Ticket is free, but you need to have one. Twistmeetup2.eventbrite.com. We'll put that link on This Week in Startups. That'll be amazing. And I already thanked the sponsors. I thank Alex for running the show. Thank you to Tyler for his invaluable insights. Lon, you did a great job on the news. Jack,
Thank
well
you.
done. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
all next time on This Week in Startups.
With this time, I go for mine. I get to shine. Now throw your hands